We have a new pet now. We have a squirrel. At your
Does it look like
house?
this face is happy? Manny has one inside the house.
Oh my
Manny
God.
some what? Inside the house.
Oh, that's not good for the cat.
Oh, Pepper's like, lunch, breakfast, or dinner?
Especially if he's got some kind of disease.
No, Maddie's put him on health insurance today from work. His name is Chirps.
Word. Oh, yeah. Always.
Another one?
Oh, how are you? You look all summery. Retired, comfortable, casual.
And I'm busy. I don't even know how I worked because I feel busy.
Yeah,
I didn't even work, so I can't even relate. You guys are working and doing everything else. This one, Jerry, he's supposed to be retired, but he's never retired.
Our new pet.
Squirrel.
My husband.
There's many of squirrels.
This is a baby one. It's probably like a week old.
What's that baby?
Mm-hmm.
Chicken food. I'll bring it to you next week.
Okay.
We have a lot of chicken. Like the chicken food that I bring you, that Pepper doesn't eat.
Yeah.
I forgot to bring it. Manny told me. And I
How come he,
Pepper will not eat chicken
why does he buy it if she didn't eat it?
because we get the priority pack.
Gotcha. I was going to ask you, that was my next thing coming out. Yes.
It comes in the priority pack, so we
Yes.
don't have a choice
Gotcha.
but to get it.
Oh, I just saw you call.
Remember, I keep
Yeah,
it in my
I
purse.
turned it warmer so that way it doesn't get freezing cold in here because that's what everybody always says.
Some of us are menopausal.
Well, it's only it's only the odd heat. I mean, the residents that get
Look, there's two ways to
Yeah.
do this.
we get hot.
Yeah.
You can buy three
Sorry.
individual fans or deal with this. I will say it.
And
I'm 100% on it.
and it's a real
I like
thing.
it. I like it colder. Trust me.
Yeah,
You can
but
ask
we're
everybody
warming
else,
up
but
now.
I'd rather be freezing because you can always put more on than you can take
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I tell them. I just started telling them, well,
Bring the jackets
Oh, yeah?
upstairs.
They usually do.
I know.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. Today is Monday, June 8th, 2026. The time is now 6:01 in the evening. We are here at the Mesilla Town Hall for our regularly scheduled Board of Trustees meeting. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is roll call examination form. Gloria, if you would, please. Present.
Here.
Trustee Cadena? Present. Trustee Garcia? Here. Trustee Nevares?
Present. Thank you very much. So the quorum has been established. We'll move on to our next item on the agenda, which is approval of the agenda as it has been presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Trustee Nevares, seconded by Trustee Cadena. And unless there's discussion or objection, the motion will carry as it has been presented.
I have a discussion, Mayor.
Trustee Garcia.
Discussion on letter 7, new business, on J, approval, resolution 2026 to 2027. The resolution says 2025, 2026 on the resolution.
And that would be a change that we do once that one's being heard.
Okay.
But I'll make note of that as we see that. Is there any other changes to the agenda as it has been presented?
for the fiscal year.
Seeing as there are none, Gloria, if we can roll call vote with a motion by trustee Nevada, seconded by trustee Cadena.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek,
Yes.
trustee Cadena,
Yes.
trustee Garcia,
Yes.
trustee Nevares.
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yes.
Thank you very much for approval of the agenda as it has been presented. Next item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda. That does include BOT meeting minutes for our May 26, 2026 meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by trustee Garcia. And there again, if there's any discussion or objection, the motion will carry as it has been presented.
I have questions again, like always. On number 7, public input, there was a couple of residents that did speak up on there, so we did have comments on there. On number 7, public input on cases on the minutes.
Okay.
And then also too, someone gave a petition to us. Is that on record, or I didn't see it in our packet?
Gloria. Okay. So we have two ways of doing that. You can postpone the approval of the minutes until those are in there as they've been noted, or those notes on there.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with public comments on line item number 7 with the petition, please.
For addition of on the public input on item number 7, and then the petition onto that. Motion by trustee Garcia, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek. Is there any discussion on that? Or if we can have roll call vote on the condition, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek,
Yes.
trustee Cadena,
Yes.
trustee Garcia,
Yes.
trustee Nevares.
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yes.
Thank you very much for approval of the condition as it has been presented. We do need to go back to the original motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by trustee Garcia with condition as that is. Is there any further discussion? Seeing as there is no further discussion, Gloria, if we can roll call vote on the original, please.
Nevares,
Yes.
Burek,
Yes.
trustee Cadena,
Yes.
trustee Garcia.
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yes.
Thank you very much for approval of the consent agenda with the conditions as noted. Next item on the agenda is staff updates and comments. Start off with the Marshal's Department.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees. Fish for the COP event went good. SRO Boylston and his little partner were the first ones to catch a fish out of the day. Other than that, they said it was a good turnout, good event, as always, every year. Last week, I worked swing shift, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, longer than swing shift, 15-hour days, because I wanted to see the complaints we had heard from the DOT meeting on Capri, Arc, McDowell throughout the night. Code 28 heavily or frequent patrolled heavily. We did notice mailboxes were open, but mail was in them. So I don't know if the delivery person isn't shutting them all the way. I know day shift didn't get any complaints. Left a couple door hangers, one for an open car door. Speeders on University. I did a couple traffic stops and took it as an educational learning experience because the speed limit did drop from 35 to 30 recently. There were some where I had to flash my lights just because the turnaround was cut off by the walkway on both sides, and then traffic. I didn't want to get hit or cause an accident. But we're putting together a traffic plan on there to during day and hopefully nights if I can get people on board and try to stem that issue. The rain on, Tuesday night was pretty intense. The drainages on University held up, didn't have any issues. Well, we did have one on the corner. Did you guys have to come out? Yeah. We packed sandbags a day late, but they were out there the next day just in case anyone needed them. The new carport came in handy. Other than that, stand for any questions, concerns.
So I was out there in the rain as well, and I know the carport worked well because I saw you guys parked there. And I had to bother Mr. Lorenzo because Highway 28, the floods were bad.
Did it flood over there?
It got flooded again, Calle del Arroyo, Calle del Sud,
Oh, those
Calle del
always,
Norte. So
those always got flooded.
yeah, but we need to get that traffic going too for safety concerns. So called the mayor a couple times and then I called the 24-hour thing. So we can, rain is out there pretty bad. Please patrol on there a little bit more.
Yes,
Appreciate
ma'am.
that.
Yes, ma'am. Have you gotten any other complaints on the university area?
A little bit.
Can you
The
email or
trash.
meet?
The
Trash.
trash going on there. People are walking in to the yards. Got a couple of them.
On the backside or front backside?
Yeah, right on there.
Because I drove down that and spotlighted that side and didn't see anyone, but yeah.
Yeah, the debris. I mean, with the rain wise, the debris
Yeah.
held back a lot of the rain from them.
Yeah.
But I know one lady did get flooded in, and I know me and Mr. Estrada did 2 trenches in the middle of the night because we didn't have sandbags.
Okay.
So we did 2 trenches so the water wouldn't come into the old people's, I shouldn't say that, elderly's house.
Is it running off the
They
backside?
were running off the back, and so we
Okay.
got out there in the rain to get those trenches outside and want the water to go in there. And we did tell quite a few of them, don't go outside. Make sure they stayed inside. So yeah, we came back home dredging. That's why I knew all the Royals were running. Cause I had to go to my dad's house to get stuff
Okay.
to keep going. So that's
Okay.
yeah, they got trash and people going to their backyards. So
Okay.
yeah, it impacted us because we were spotlighting in their backyards.
Yeah, I drove through there with all my lights on. So.
Yeah, we spotlighted with the It was,
Okay.
It was interesting.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Fire chief.
Oh, the sandbags, Mayor and Board of Trustees. So the rain caught us a little early, and we don't normally do sandbags until right before 4th of July because that's when the rains come. If we put them out too early, the sun destroys them in about a week. And then when somebody tries to pick them up, they just crumble. But now that we have a carport, we're going to try and find a spot under there, which then they're protected, but then they're out of sight. Nobody's going to know they're there. So we're going to try and figure something out. But now we have sand, thanks to Public Works, and now we'll be ready for the next one. Other than that, just business as usual. We've been busy. Our newer ambulance is in the shop right now. We have a check engine light on it, and so we're running out of the older one. We're fortunate that we have 2 running ambulances. We're able to keep picking people up when they need it. And other than that, I stand for any questions.
I just have one. On the sand, does it come out of your budget or Public Works budget?
I can't buy sand, so it would have to come out of Public Works. Now, normally they get sand from up on the hill, right? So this time they bought sand so that we could have cleaner sand, but they didn't. Normally they just bring a bucket full with the backhoe, so it doesn't cost them anything. I have a hard time buying sandbags, the actual bags. They made us pay that back the last time because we can get the bags free from OEM, so they won't let us even buy sandbags.
Okay, that's from,
The prison, we can get filled sandbags from the prison, but we have to drive there and it takes a lot of time to get that taken care of. But the empty bags we can get from OEM, yeah, I don't have people that can go and just drive with. The last time we did that, it took a lot of time to go and get the bags from the prison. And then we had to take the trailer back. That's how they come from OEM. Yeah. That it? Awesome. Thank you.
Mr. Storga, Public Works.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Mayor. I also don't have too much myself. We are going to be working on a project. Got some plans in over here in the back that we're going to be planning over here on Calle Pecana. That belongs to us over here, the roundabout. So we got line locates cleared over there. So we'll be ready to get that beautified there and get that crossed off our list. We had a sewer tap in that we did on Wednesday that, the guys took care of as a big project. Of course, as you heard, Ben, the rain. Yeah, I was in here and me and another coworker were out here in the rain getting drenched. Arroyo was the one with a challenge because that's the one that we get a bunch of debris that just washes off the side of the roads and it plugs up the deals. But we got the both pumps running and cleared out that road as fast as we could. And as far as and then also, as you can see, a little bit of damage here and a little bit of damage there. So other than that, it's business as usual. I did get the sweeper back today, so I'm going to be hitting some of these streets that did get dirty with debris and stuff like that. And also, there is quite a bit of potholes that did get accumulated also too that I've been counting down. So we'll attack that here. Unless have for any questions.
I had a few. One of the things is with the heavy rain, and the corner of Calle Tercera and Calle Parian becomes pretty flooded. Is there any way to remove the water? I mean, I don't know. The Sea of Las Cruces has a vector, right, that removes water. But I just had, a question on that. Can potentially have assistance from the city to with that, or are they too busy with their own?
Oh, I'm pretty sure that they're busy with their own spots also too. But that's always been a problem there. As far as since I've been here, it's always been. I know that they redid the street there for it to kind of like wash off to the side, but it still doesn't really.
This was a heavy rain.
Yeah.
Okay. The other one was a community garden. There's pipes sticking out right away.
Yeah.
Enter the gate.
We will be lowering those down
Into the ground.
into the ground. The guys just left them up a little bit too high, so we'll go ahead and put them into some boxes into the ground so that way they're out of the way and not a tripping hazard.
And lastly, because I talked to a vendor at the plaza on Sunday, and that brickwork around the 2 pine trees, they described it as kind of a tripping hazard. And so, is it possible to at least get the edges painted yellow so that they stand out, that there is an uneven surface? I don't know. I mean, just a suggestion, but
Okay, yeah, we'll look into that. I know that we've tried the tape, but the tape peels off. So I mean, if we got to go with color, then
we do that at the university for when uneven surface to try to make draw attention that there's
a little step there.
yes. All right. Well, thank you.
I have a question. What happened?
Oh, there was just a little bit of damage to the ceiling tiles. I mean, there's a leak up there.
Did we approve that leak to get repaired a couple of months ago?
No, it's on the other side of the building.
It's on the other side of the building? Okay, did it get repaired at least before the storm?
The other side of the building,
Yeah.
but the one.
We're doing it on the other side.
Did that one get repaired already?
Because this one was actually patched and repaired last year, right?
This one was,
And the other one we got the quote for was for the other side of the building.
Has it got repaired?
No.
Was there any damage on that side?
No.
Let's try to get on it and get it, because I guarantee you what the dollar amount we approved, rain's gonna keep on coming. God knows we need it all, but we need to get it repaired, especially if we approved it a couple of months ago. I don't know. If you already got the quote, we shouldn't be sitting on it.
Right.
Getting it done, please. So please jump on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Oh, thank you for the rain.
No problem. No problem.
Thank you for answering. Sorry to bother you.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Appreciate it. Mr. Salazar, Community Economic Development.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Mayor. Again, just like the rest of the my staff members, it's business as usual. We are working on multiple projects that do take some time. Right now, we are new projects or new issues or cases or however you want to look at that is we do have some more and more we get into the codes part of we do have some other cases. Right now we do have a concern. It was brought up on the last meeting about a tree that fell over by Capri Arc. After taking the court officer down there, myself and Lorenzo, there is concerns. There is a lot of trees out there that are potentially could be a safety hazard and also an eyesore for the town. So we are looking at that, making some contacts with multiple residents in that area to get that taken care of. We did have one tree. The court officer did make contact with both. There was two residents that did have some trees on the ground that were chopped up. One was picked up. The other one, the code enforcement officer is following up with them tomorrow to make sure that's also been taken care of. But there is still multiple trees out there that do give some concern for safety and again the eyesore for that section of Mesilla, that zone. Along with that, it goes with the code officer training. We continue to review a lot of these cases that are frequent, not frequent, but different in different ways. It is difficult as enforcement. I was reminded through his eyes when the codes is not up to date or up to a lot of these concerns our residents have, that it's hard to enforce some of these violations if it's not something that's in the code. So one of the things we are looking at, again, Mayor, myself and the marshal is looking at our code, our nuisance. We've been working on with some of these ordinances, with the noise, with the hearing examiner, with the multiple other ordinances that are coming to mind right now. So I have been having last two meetings with the planning and zoning commissioners. We've actually been reviewing sections of the code as well through Title 18 to be consistent, to be on the same page. Part of that you can call it training. Try to just have a discussion to go over some of these items that have been brought up as through the codes, such as RV illegal RV parkings and those such things that we want to be able to take care of during land use ordinance as well. So that kind of goes hands in hand. We did have last meeting. I did bring up a concern by Mesilla Farm. There's a lateral back there with the water runs by behind Boat Street and them streets back there that had a leaking spillway. It was old. I get a contact EBID, and they went ahead because we haven't used it in so long. They went ahead and covered that compressor so it no longer will create an potential issue with mosquitoes and such for that subdivision. We're having two new interns start working with Liana with historic preservation to continue that effort, and one of them is going to be at the county looking at our archives with a lot of these properties that we have significant. First of all, the significant historic properties, and then we'll venture on from there when it comes to the local registry for our town. We are working as well as the newsletter that's coming up soon, and the nominations. We're hoping by the beginning of next month we'll have our next hearing for our nominations of our next potential property on our registry. Excuse me. Oh, that I stand by for any questions. One last thing I did have down here is parking. We are continuously looking at parking during events. We do hear a lot about not enough parking and they're in the way. So there's a lot of and we like to have events, have the traffic, the community, help our businesses. But a lot of times we do have residents here that do live here that are affected by these events that do express concerns about parking, and especially in their driveway. Not enough parking to where they got to park far away to where they got to walk towards their house. So we are continuously looking at how can we improve parking, and obviously we're open to any suggestions that anybody might have. I'll stand by.
I have one question. Did the fireworks stands pay their fees?
Not to this
Neither
moment.
one of
Not the Planet Fireworks did. The minute we made contact with it, they came by the next day. The other gentleman came by and spoke with me. That's one of the reasons why he came to that meeting. But as of yet, there is no record of him paying.
So he doesn't pay, he does not get to put up, correct?
Well, if you, the answer is yes, you can. Only because our code states that within that, it's just my interpretation, my assumption, is he has until August 1st to be in violation. Because when our fire code, our amendment to the fire code is not specific, it's not detailed enough to me to say yes or no. And maybe I'll leave it up to the mayor, but it's not detailed enough to say, how is he going to pay late fees if so it was just put together. But if you read it, it just doesn't really state he can't hold business until it's paid. It's assumed that way, but it's not written that way. It just says that he has until August 1st of this year to be in violation.
When was that code enforced?
At 2025,
So
it was approved 2025 to take into effect. August 1st was going to be the beginning of the fiscal year, right? So it'll be 2026 is when he has to 2026 August 1st to pay that.
So the Planet one doesn't have to pay theirs for 2026 because they already did. They paid ahead.
Mm-mm. No, they paid at the beginning of the year, whenever we contacted them for that for 25, 26. This year is 26, 27, right?
So I did have a conversation with the gentleman that owns the one down here who has not paid yet. He will have that first payment taken care of by the 16th of July. So he just needs to get through July. He'll have that done, and then before August, he'll have the second payment taken care of as well.
And so if he doesn't have that second payment after August 1st, he's not going to be able to put his stand up for the following year,
Correct.
correct?
So then he'll owe if he's paying, how much is he paying July 17th? Or whenever he's going to pay the first payment?
The fee, which is $9,000.
So he'll pay in July?
Yes.
Did we give that option?
The mayor spoke with them. I didn't speak with them, but when I read the code, I mean, again, it's not very detailed to say you can't put up your stand until you take care of your $9,000 hazard fee. It just says August 1st to August 1st is the physical year to pay the $9,000. It's assumed that you would pay at the beginning of that physical year, but it's not detailed that way.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's not fair for those that are paying.
Right, I understand. I agree.
But they may make all their income on July 4th. That was his argument.
Right.
So I don't see any, I think just like everybody else, they have a certain amount of time to pay up. I mean, we, like our trash, I mean, we have a month to pay our trash or whatever. Stop picking up our trash. So, I mean, I think we can tighten it up, but I do think we need to be, if that's when he makes money in July is probably when he can, because the whole purpose of that ordinance was to make it more convenient so that they didn't have to fill out every single thing and that it would be a lump sum. And I think we came up with a fair amount at that time. And so I think, I mean, we can tighten it up to say, well, that's the same amount. I mean, but I don't think we need to, I mean, I think they need to pay, but I don't think, if he says he's paying in July and he doesn't, then he gets late fees, or we give him 30 days or 90 days to pay, and then that's the end of it. But I think I think that's when he makes his money. That's what he said.
Well, that's when they both make their money.
Right. But if the other guy has money to pay,
That doesn't matter if they both, we can't assume that at all.
I know. So I'm saying if he came in just to do, I mean, it's their choice, is what I'm saying. I don't think we should. I mean, if the guy over here has the money in June, but the guy over there doesn't have the money till July because they have a different business model, let's just make it due August 1st. If they don't pay for it, we give them 30 days.
I think it specifically states August 1st.
It does say August 1st.
Okay, well then, I mean, we give everybody else every other fee schedule.
That's what I'm talking about.
What do you call it?
Grace period.
Grace period.
So I don't know why they would go into that same category, but if you don't want to, that's fine. I'm just saying,
I think August 1st is a grace period because it is July 4th where everything happens. That's where they predominantly make their money. I just don't want to get us in a situation where just because one paid one follows what needs to be done and the other doesn't, that we start giving exceptions or giving that perception. You know, I'm concerned about that.
So we have a couple of things on that. In thinking about it, is that we did not, on our part, on the town, is that, we only have these two vendors, but we did not send out notification of change in ordinance that directly affects both of these vendors. One was present for the meeting when the vote was taken. The other one was not. He was present for the work session before that meeting, but not for the meeting where the vote and the change of the fees and everything that was voted on by the Board of Trustees took place. And we failed to send the notification of ordinance out to him in that he would be having this fee happening to him. In other instances across the entire town, we do have internal deals, and that's what I'm intending, where we give that one-time kind of grace, if you will, and it goes across for certain applications. And it's noted in like residence files, business files, whatever the case may be, as that one-time grace. So he is allowed to pay this late one time, noted in his file. If the other vendor has that issue or runs into an issue and needs to take advantage of it, it's a lifetime deal though. It's not a continuation of I'm continually running late. It's a one-time that has it. And that's something that was enacted by the previous administration that I've carried forward as an internal policy.
Okay.
As long as we're consistent.
Correct.
Yes.
And that's the way that I was looking at it when I had this conversation, gentlemen. And that's we're with that.
At this point, ain't fair, because, I mean, the Nevada's family pays for the display of the fireworks, and that costs them, what, $30,000-$40,000? You know what I mean? And they eat the cost on that. I mean, imagine if they stop doing it, we won't have the funds for it. You know, there goes the end of that. You know, so, I mean, we gotta keep it fair
No, I agree.
to both of them. And if he paid the $9,000, I'll look at the ordinance again, but I mean, it's only fair. You know, so, I mean, we're gonna pick favors. We can tell them, you know what, we won't charge you the $9,000 because you do the display out of your own pocket, you know?
Well,
he was
part of the ordinance, and I think this is just a misunderstanding or an oversight by us where the other guy, and we may get it third. I mean, the thing is we need to write an ordinance without prejudice, right? That will meet everybody's needs, because we could get another one. You know what I mean? We don't know that. So I think what you said is already an internal thing. He got this he got this notice that he was due August 1st. And then we send out notices next year.
That's how he found out.
Yeah.
He didn't pay payment.
Yeah, but there was notice out that the ordinance was going, right? You posted it up and everything.
Yes. But once it was codified or accepted by the board, then
That didn't go out.
I mean could have been our due diligence for at least those two businesses to let them know that.
Oh, so that was just due out of courtesy, not because it was a rule.
Correct.
Okay, that makes a big difference. We're doing it out of courtesy. We don't have to let anybody know that we changed an ordinance. It was just a courtesy. Let's make that clear.
Any other questions for Mr. Salazar? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Maya? Nothing right now? Thank you. Any questions for finance? Moving on to the next item on the agenda, public input on the cases that are being heard this evening. This is where the public is invited to address the board for items under 7 new business. If you have comments, please step to the podium and state your name for the record.
Hello, board. My name is Morgan Schweitzer. I'm representing New Mexico Vintage tonight. My business address is 2310 Avenida de Mesilla, New Mexico, basically catty corner to this building. Tonight, there's going to be some noise ordinances being introduced. As you know, next year we'll be celebrating 20 years in business in Mesilla. So we've always been a longtime supporter of local music and music in general. That's something that we've been very proud of and continue to do to this day. And I certainly agree that we need better ordinances in this arena. However, the first showing of what the mayor has put together, as far as I've been shared, in regards to noise control, I find to be egregious. They're very targeted to stifle our business specifically. The information, again, we always come back as a business wanting to make sure that the town government is being business friendly as much as they can within reason. Obviously, you have laws and other things as well. But these proposals for discussion tonight are more restrictive than what the county has, which has been what the town has been going by for 15 years per Marshall Ben. I have had the chance to talk to some musicians briefly before tonight's meeting in regards to the proposed document. They have also said that this is egregious in their perspective. They play townships all over the state of New Mexico as well as other states in historic communities, and they have not seen anything to this degree of severity. And due to our location and proximity to one person who chooses to live in that address, you will see that this is specifically more targeted to vintage than it is across the board. Again, because the township is allowed to do whatever they want to in these new proposed ordinances within reason. But then again, the town is also the one who makes their own rules and assigns their own permits. So of course, if you make a rule and you make the permits, it makes it a lot easier if you're a township. So I'm just asking that you keep the businesses in mind, not just mine, but anybody who plays music. That includes the town, even though there are loopholes in this new document that allow the town under celebrations and any event to do music at different levels than businesses. And keep in mind that outdoor events and indoor events can all still be very loud. It is subjective, but I trust that you will read through them and make decisions based on what is best for the town, not one specific business or one specific individual who chooses to live in a commercial residential district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schweitzer. Other public comment? Seeing as there's no other public comment, we'll move on to our next order of business. New business 7A PZHAC case 062130 2130 Kaya Principal submitted by Eric Walkinshaw, requesting approval to renovate an existing accessory building on the property in the historic residential zone.
So move.
Motion on the floor by trustee Nevada, seconded by trustee Cadena. We will open it up for discussion. Mr. Sullivan.
Mr. Chair, Board of Trustees, this is an application was submitted by Mr. Walkinshaw, requesting to renovate an existing accessory building on his property. At this time, the shed is in poor condition. I would like to redo the roof, adobe stucco, and repaint it. The roof parapet will be raised 8 inches. The wooden roof overhang, that's to help hide some of the accessories on top of the roof. It still be able, way below the threshold of under 15 feet. The wooden roof overhang rafters are rotten and will be replaced. Porch over main door will be redone with natural galvanized corrugated steel. A new door will be installed under the door, and the door is to be replaced with the window approximately the same width. A guest window on the same side will be reduced to 12 by 12 inches. A window on the west side will be removed. An existing door will be replaced with a utility door next to the window, see attached. It was reviewed by the planning zoning PZAC. We did have a unanimous decision of 4-0. There wasn't any concerns or any conditions, and I stand by for any questions.
I just have one question, Eddie.
Mhm.
The 4-0 approval, was it just anonymous or was everybody individually asked to vote?
If it was anonymous, if everybody was what?
Was everybody asked for a yes or no vote, or was it just an anonymous vote?
No, everybody was asked individually,
Everybody asked.
correct.
So, yeah, all right, and then Mr. Walkinshaw did excuse himself from the vote, correct?
Dick Walkinshaw recused himself, he left the the meeting room when that happens.
Any other discussion? Motion on the floor by trustee Nevada, seconded by trustee Cadena for approval of PCHAC case 062130. If there's no further discussion, Gloria, if you can roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Trustee Cadena,
Yes.
trustee Nevada,
Yes.
Johnson Burr,
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4-0.
Thank you very much for approval of PZHAC case 062130. Next item on the agenda is PZHA 7B, PZHAC case 062135 2226 B, Calle de Guadalupe, submitted by Casa Otro, requesting approval to install a sign on a pre-existing projecting bracket in the historic commercial zone.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by trustee Nevada, seconded by trustee Garcia. I'll open it up for discussion. Mr. Salazar, please.
Yes, excuse me, Mr. Nathan Smith, the owner of Casa Otro, has this submit request to install a sign on an existing projecting bracket at his business. There is a picture attached to this, so get an idea where he's requesting it to be. The sign dimensions is 28 inches wide, 16 inches high, and 14 inches deep, and made out of metal with interior lighting. Light will be compatible with our town pollution ordinance and emitting from the carved letters on the face of the building from the inside. This one, the department comments, is sign made out of steel, light shall GB yellow with minimal lumens, mounted on existing bracket. Mesilla Town Code 65170, 1865-170 meets the requirements of the minimum of 7 feet clearance, sorry, and a maximum of 8 square feet in size, and no more than 4 feet projecting from the wall. The vote on this one was different. The vote on this one was 2-2. The commissioners, the chair had to do the tiebreaker on this one. The reason for that is two of the commissioners felt that the sign, again, you'll see that in the packet, is didn't meet the design standards of the plaza. It was more of a new age sign, and they were just concerned that the signage would create, approving the sign would create additional signs like such. And that is the reasoning behind it, and I stand by.
Trustees, questions or discussion?
So, but the ordinance clearly does state that the signs need to fit the development standards.
Correct.
For the surrounding area.
Correct. So I guess the question is, do you feel that this sign meets, because two of the commissioners didn't, and then one of the chair was the deciding factor. So that's why it's here before you.
I don't think it meets within the surrounding area. It's very obvious. It looks like something that you see maybe in Santa Fe or something different. So I just, again, go back to the ordinances, and I guess it's their own interpretation. So, okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you describe what, at least if you know, what that es Casa Otro, but that design in the middle, what is it supposed to represent?
This is Casa Otro is a gallery. It's a gallery business. The middle is an ocotillo cactus,
That's what I
right?
thought.
With the Casa Otro, the emitting of the light from the inside out. One of the questions that there are no other signs this way, lit up this way. The color, does match. It's about the cactuses and stuff like that does match. It's just the way it's put together was of some concerns with the commissioners. So the other two commissioners, obviously the ones that voted yes, did feel that it was because it did fit the design due to the type of business, and the color and lighting met the requirements as well. So
State what the two commissioners that didn't think it fit in. Can you kind of restate that again? Because I'm trying.
they just mentioned that the design itself, one, did not meet the plaza, and then two, is there were no. It was a question: is there any other signs in the plaza that has sign lighting coming from the inside out? Not to my knowledge, no. I know, what was mentioned that the park recently with the lettering with Mesilla on it does have lighting emitting from the inside out, and that's probably as best as I can compare it to.
lighting that was objected to, not the design of the whole. I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, that's you know, again, they didn't feel that the it's more modern, like the lighting coming from the inside out, and the way it was put together, it doesn't represent that era of signage. I get, I'm just making up words here, but that's what I'm interpreting what they said. Their exact words was, doesn't meet the design standards, and there are other lights coming out from within the sign, and that's what the reasoning was. Again, it was a tie, and we did have a tiebreaker.
So it'd be that sign hanging off of that. Because this sign is attached to a wall, like.
Yeah, this is just an example.
This
Is
is an
it
example,
of the
but it's
sign?
a pretty close example of
Correct.
what they want.
Correct.
But it just be hanging instead
Mhm.
of.
They want this sign where that bracket is at.
What's the material then? It's metal, right?
Right.
Okay.
Steel patina.
Trustees, any other discussion or questions? Motion on the floor for approval of PZHA case 062135 by trustee Nevada, seconded by trustee Garcia. There's no further discussion. Gloria, if you can roll call vote, please.
Cadena,
I think I'd like to, no. It's a no.
Garcia,
No.
trustee Nevada,
Yes.
No.
Mayor, the roll call is 3 noes and 1 yes.
But their motion for the case for approval for PZHA case 062135 has failed. So we can take that back to the applicant as is not approved.
Correct. Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Mayor, if I may, I do have a question though. So going back to the applicant and advise him of the decision, what would make it acceptable on as closest to this as possible? Nowhere near this, or no lighting coming from the inside, the wrong color, it needs to be mounted on the wall. What would make it acceptable for the applicant? Because I mean, he's going to ask me, so I'm like, so I would like to ask now so I can relate that.
I have a comment. Well, you know, that particular sign does remind me of Santa Fe. And I just think, and it's beautiful. I love it. And I actually love the material and the design. So I think it's just, you know, it's right behind the church for one. And I just do think it would change kind of the ambiance of what that building has always been and what other signs are there. I mean, I don't know, and maybe, I mean, that's why I'm torn, because there's nothing wrong with moving forward with things and changing things up. But I think there's nothing wrong with keeping the traditions either, you know? So I think, like, I'm fine with the material. I think it should hang off there. I just think the light does change the whole ambience of, and it's right in front of Jose, it's right behind the church. So I think it would change it some. So I think just the light, actually.
The light coming from the inside, the color of the light. I mean, I like to know these questions. We can, as a commissioners, I like to bring it up and discuss that. So again, it doesn't.
I think the light from the inside, like I said, as soon as I saw it, it reminded me of Santa Fe. That's cool. It's Santa Fe because I love Santa Fe.
So no Santa Fe signs is what you're saying. Is that what I mean, again, that's what I'm trying to. I'm sorry.
Look around at the stores, look across the street. You've been here long enough, you know what is acceptable, what meets the development standards for the plaza, for that area.
So it's my decision to bring this case or request forward to the board based on my experience, right? Not on your suggestion. So what,
He's gonna ask you, so then, like I said, reflect on what's already being done.
okay.
You see the wooden signs hanging down, you see it's already pretty much established standards.
For just the feel of it, I mean, I do think, I mean, it is a little notch above what everybody else's signs are. And not that we don't want to do a notch above, but maybe not there, right behind the church to start out with. Or whatever, I mean, I think.
Oh, I'm okay with the decision. I just want to learn, and again, when these questions get brought up, I want to make sure we are on the same page.
I do think that then it'll go further, right? I mean, having light at your sign, like I'm thinking of when we walked around the plaza to find out what people needed. I don't know who else did it, but all the businesses outside of the central plaza wanted something to make their business stand out. So I can see a Doggy Artist come back and say, we want a lighted sign down our street. You know what I mean? To display Doggy Art.
Compete, correct.
Doggy Artists, right? And then the people down, at Madeline's, they, every art gallery down that street is gonna say, well, we want something with a light, because it brings attention. And I feel strongly that we need to do something to bring attention to the businesses outside the Central Plaza, because they feel like they do lose business, because if people are there, they're just circling the plaza and not kind of going, like, we need arrows. And I mean, there was a lot of suggestions, like putting flags on poles and saying there's businesses down there, So I just feel like I said, it's very attractive. It's just not meeting what we're doing, and I think it would open up. I mean, potteries might want a lighted sign down their street. I mean, just so that people can see down the street and say, hey, there's a sign, right, that has light on it. It's just what maybe we should consider. And maybe we say at some point that all businesses outside of the plaza can have light on their sign, because they are complaining that they don't get as much attention because they're not on the plaza. Does that make sense?
No, like I said, I don't have, I just want to learn from this case, because when it comes to P&Z, we try to interpret it was based on code, not what's best. Your consideration is totally different than P&Z's consideration, right? P&Z would say, does it meet the height required? Does it meet the weight? Does it meet the material? Does it meet the lighting? And that's the questions why I'm asking. We as P&Z commissioners, I feel we did the right decision. It just has to come from the trustees, the governing board. If it's something that's concerning, we don't want to go that route. I mean, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. I just wanted again to ask.
Code states developmental standards.
Correct.
And I think one way to look at it is, the businesses can have their signs lighted, and a majority of those signs that are lit around that area have a gooseneck coming down on them. So maybe that's one way of looking at it, rather than being internally lit like it's showing here, is a metal sign that's similar that has goosenecks that shine down. So
Yeah, that's
kind of the way that it is around.
but we also have projection signs, right? And this is what this is. It's a projecting sign. Hey, I don't know. Continue.
Well,
Again, I'm just.
I don't. We've had stuff coming back to us lately. Like, we're having to reconsider things. I think we've done that like 3 times lately. And so I think it's better for, and not that there's anything wrong with that we have to reconsider things. But I really would. I mean, I guess I haven't noticed all the signs. So are there signs lit up at night in the businesses down the streets? And this is just another form of one. Is that what we're saying? I mean, this is just a different idea. But I don't know how having internal light would be different than having a gooseneck. A gooseneck is going to be not as attractive as this internal light, or is it the styling? Is that what you're saying? That a gooseneck is going to follow traditional lighting?
Yes.
Okay. I just, we did that on the sign of university for the Coronado Lodge, that we had to go back and fix it because it actually was something we should have approved. I don't want to you know, I just think we put things off like that, and I just want to understand the picture. Like you,
Same here.
I want to understand what it is I'm opposing, right? Because that did, for me, bring Santa Fe. But anyway, if everybody's lit up, and I just haven't noticed, because I'm telling, I mean, because that was a complaint from the businesses outside of us, that they don't get as much business, because there's no way for them to say, hey, we're down here, because of all our ordinances, because they want sidewalk signs, they want these signs to their businesses.
No, like I said, I mentioned, we're just going off of the code and you know, we approved the one at the park. You know, if you really want to go off of design standards, any other signs, you know, the board approved the one at the park, and that was the one that doesn't meet any of the design standards, right? So again, I'm just, you know, trying to understand so our commissioners don't get beat up so much when they come to these meetings, because I think it's not fair that, you know, we are looked at that, you know, why are we even looking? We shouldn't be, because we don't have the same responsibilities as the governing board has. We go off of whatever is best we can with our code, and I think we've met it. But there's again, okay to state, you know, doesn't meet the standard, and I'll get with the applicant, and with your advice, I'll get it resubmitted. Not an issue. Of course it is. Of course it is. Yes, it is.
And we certainly
I'm sorry, I was just ready to move on.
Yeah, I am too, but the comment about, I mean, we appreciate everything that PNC is doing. And we need them to look at the ordinances, and we need them to follow, definitely. And we should be the only ones making those kinds of discriminating.
It's just the remarks. Just the remarks I mean, we understand we're not going to be, you know, always eye to eye. Just the remarks sometimes get a little old.
All right, but, you know.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Salazar. Next item on the agenda, item 7C, for discussion, upcoming public hearings and ordinance updates for a public hearing being held on our 6/22 meeting.
So Mayor, I have for clarification. So, one, this information wasn't in our packet, so we didn't get an opportunity yet again to review all of this. So now we're going to go through everything tonight?
No, we are not.
Okay,
That's
thank you.
that's-
Because I want to go
and
home and read this.
And that's the intent. So,
Okay.
and then that's one thing that I want to say is, you know, that in going through this, let me kind of go through
Okay.
on all of this. So, because we need to go through with updates to several parts of our ordinance in general. Every change in ordinance does require a public hearing to be held. So we posted the public hearing. So that in some of these changes are changes that need to happen quickly, especially before the end of the year, end of the fiscal year.
Why?
So let me go through
Okay.
just 1 second. All right. So nuisance, and it's not like quick. All right. So, but it is quick to a certain degree. So nuisance is one of those, is the replacement for when we have the hearing officer on that one. So you have seen this one in front of you before. It's been being reviewed by our attorney, and then that'll be open for public hearing. The nuisance for noise is a new one for updates in that. That's one that we met internally and finalized the information today with some information there through the department heads internally. There's none of these, and that's the important thing that I want to say, is that none of these have been posted for public review yet. That's one of the things that we did say that that in the hearing, public hearing posting, is that we would have them ready for public review by Wednesday. Contingent that the board felt good that we were doing in discussion, moving forward with discussion and planning of these ordinances. And this is just the start of everything on that. And they hit on this.
Wednesday?
But no, it's posting for the public, or we'll put it on the website and have it available for the public. No, the public hearing's already been posted for the 22nd. It's already been sent into the legal ads like it needs to be. So we're following through with our side of the ordinance for public hearings. So this is just public hearing. There's no adoption, codification, anything to that extent. But I will say, so when we get into the PZHAC terms and pay, with that one in specific, when we look at that one, we talked about the terms at the beginning of the year and setting that. Those are outlined in that. The pay is outlined in that. The pay for that, and this is one of the ones that would probably be a recommendation by the end of the month, if possible, because the commission cannot get paid until it is codified and accepted by the board, even though we've said that we are going to pay the defines that they are getting set pay.
That's the only one.
These is one that we've discussed before in this meeting, so that's just bringing it forward and getting these taken care of. The goal, honestly, is for us to start looking at holding public hearings and ordinance updates, and trying to do a couple of ordinance updates every single month, and trying to just knock out a few as we go forward. So if you have suggestions on these, please do that. What you have here literally is just copies of the suggested ordinance changes. These are the ones that are going to be posted online for the public to review. I wanted to give you plenty of time to review them as well. So we'll hold the public hearing that will be on the 22nd. If there might be, if we get the resolutions completed by then for the ordinance, they might be attached. So if you feel good about it, we can approve it, but not likely, because I'm sure there will be amendments and changes that will be suggested by the board. So then we'll move those forward.
Hold on real quick, Mayor. Who suggested all this that's in red right now?
What's that?
On the noise, who was all these suggestions?
That's coming through. So when we met internally, and when I say internally, it's myself, the marshal, community and economic development, and the town clerk, going through like the noise ordinance and going side by side with the county as well as the city, and combining that to our ordinance, which is
This is where
very short.
I'm gonna say it straightforward. Noise ordinance, I mean, I'm hoping it does happen since we're being very courtesy lately, that we send this out to all the businesses and let them know with a copy of it to their email blast them. But we should have asked the businesses for their opinions on it, because it's gonna affect.
That's
it's
what the
gonna affect
public
it.
input, Trustee Garcia, that's what the public input is for, and the public hearing, is so that we get that public input. And then that can be a direction by the board on updates that need to be.
Well, that's what I'm
occurred.
asking. Can we email this copy to all the businesses and let them know,
I'll email everything that's on here to everybody.
to every business?
Dorothy
Okay.
blast that out there. It's not an issue by any means. And it will be posted, as I mentioned, by Wednesday.
On the website.
Correct.
Okay.
It will be available, as it says on the posting, for public viewing here at Town Hall on Wednesday as well. But that's why I find it confusing, because there's literally, this has not been, this was literally with the notes and suggested changes that came out of the meetings, and going through everything was finalized and printed out at 5 o'clock today. So nothing's been posted or shared other than what is in front of you. So that's what I find a little confusing all the way around.
Well, because we didn't get it and have time to review it, and then I saw that June 22nd, and I was like,
That's the public hearing though.
yeah, but it wasn't, I mean, I see public hearing and ordinance updates, I see discussion. I just want to make sure that,
It's not discussion on these means.
and so
Because
you
you
use.
didn't-
I digress. So you use some of the county and the city ordinances?
Yes.
Do you know what the cards, if not, I mean, I absolutely
I'll,
go research.
I mean, I can pull it up side by side for you, so, or pull
I
those
can look it up.
ordinances and get that, so.
Ours was just the one in black, so it was very, very short.
Correct. Ours
Right.
was,
So
ours was-
it was very, very short, so you've kind of expanded it and make more detail.
and that's the thing, is that when we look at it, and the noise ordinance is one of those, and it's not specific to one business, one resident, because as you heard in our last meeting, there was a resident that commented about the people going up and down University yelling at 2 a.m. I've had people, from the farm zone that have called in complaints about noise. So that it's all over the entire town. Our ordinance as it stands is not strong enough to support the business, and it's not strong enough to support the resident, and it's not fair to either one. So there has to just be clear, defined lines that create guidelines for accountability across the board for everybody, and consistency, just as we've talked before. So that's all it is. Take your time to review it. If you have suggestions or comments or questions, please get with Eddie, with the marshal, with myself, or even get the further red lines and discussion on there. Send that into Gloria so that she can update some of that on there. There's nothing wrong with that by any means.
But all I'm asking is if we can make sure every business gets a copy of this and letting them know,
Most
even though
definitely.
that we posted it, it's been posted or going to be posted or whatever, let the businesses be aware of it. Because it might take effect on not just one, two, it'll affect all of them. And that's, the businesses are our life source.
That is true.
It is our life source, so we gotta make sure they're involved.
No, I absolutely agree, but I just, and the marshal can attest to this, the yelling, shouting, or singing. I'm more familiar with the yelling and shouting outside of where we live at 2 a.m. I wish they would sing, but unfortunately, it's the opposite of where I live. I said Marshall's very aware out there. But how do you stop that? I mean, let me comment to me.
My question is on the decimal levels. Is there, those are arrived at by as recommendations out of the county or the city or something?
Similarities to the other ordinances. Yes, that is correct.
Okay, because, there's just no way of knowing how loud that is, but
Well, I
anyway,
think-
we can,
And
thank
so,
you for doing this, man. This is great.
we're focusing on the noise ordinance, but I think one of the biggest things that we want to realize in what we're trying to truly convey, especially for our commercial zone and our historic commercial zone, more than anything through this noise ordinance, is that, and I'm just going to say it right now in this part of the discussion, is that when we look at this ordinance, the historic commercial zone and the commercial zone are business first, residential second. And that's the way that the ordinance needs to truly read and doing that. And so it needs to focus on it. So you'll see areas in here where we talked about and had discussion where when we look at the meter, decibel meter reading or reading and taking that, if we do that, it's a certain distance away from the business, from the residents or whoever, wherever this is at, or even potentially going to the nearest residential line and have them taking the reading from there. So it depends upon where it is in town that defines where that reading would be taken. So we try to get as detailed as we can without being too overly egregious, as it was pointed out earlier, because that's not what we want by any means.
Yeah, I think we all realize that we really, really want to support the businesses, that's our lifeblood. I don't think anybody on the board, there's a couple business owners in here that are very interested in making sure that our ordinance meets their needs too. So we will look at this. Thank you. I'm glad to have it in writing and a chance to look at it.
Yeah, because we also, when we have our festivals, we gotta make sure we're meeting ordinance too, because I can hear music from the closet to my house, y'all live here.
So that's
So-
also, as you read through this, you'll see that we put in, and I mean, we literally, because it's not, we've always gone on the fact that, you know, in the past, that in our ordinance, it does state that the town is exempt in many different ways, and that's one of the things that we've gone off of, but that's not appropriate by any means. So we do have that noted in here, how that's taken care of, the events that are being held specifically by the town, and looking at that, so.
Mayor, I didn't see, correct me if it's here and I'm missing it, the utility fees review?
There isn't, so that's
Okay.
that one in specific is, I'm working on the details because we're pulling the utility rates from other entities and getting all of those rates, so that way we can review that. Keep in mind that, you know, through resolution that was passed years ago, is that with the COLA that does go into effect, that does not need to have the Board of Trustees approval for the COLA specifically, but anything outside of that would need to have that approval. But with that noted as well, as it was pointed out by Trustee Garcia a couple meetings ago, we'll make sure that we're notifying our residents of the increases that are happening. We'll put it on the utility bills, and Lorenzo is specifically getting ready to have a water report go out. So when we get the water report out, we'll be doing a full town update on everything. That'll include the ordinances that we've worked on, the projects that we've worked on, and everything else as far as it pertains to utilities, fees, everything like that, and how we, and have a table comparison, how we compare to other entities as well. Just a little bit more information to our residents. And there again, as it's been noted, it's not just going to be shared with the residents. That'll be something that is mailed out to our businesses as well.
Okay. Great.
Looking at the compensation, switching over, sorry, to the planning and zoning. So for every meeting, we're gonna pay every regular commissioner is gonna get $100 for each meeting. Okay. And then the alternates who attend, they're gonna get $50. Correct?
Unless they sit in as, and are appointed by the chair as a regular voting member. So the voting, in other words, that in that, just the general overview in that compensation piece is that there would be the general voting board receives that stipend as such. And then the non-voting board still in attendance gets that there.
Like that.
One of the other things that you'll notice in here, I'm just going to point it out for the proposed updates to 1806. And we went through the changes and looking at the timeframes. But one of the other things that was looked at is the number of alternates. Because since we enacted the alternates, going on almost 2 years now, we've had attendance at the meetings, and there at the time we thought we would have a need for 2 alternates. But as of right now, there's probably only the need for 1 because we have consistent activity from the board. So that would be a change that would be requested in there. The 2 sitting alternates, though, would remain as alternates. That would not change because they're already appointed as such. So until those terms end, and then they have the ability to move into other positions and within the board, then we would take that into consideration. Or that would be a recommendation, I should say.
Well, no, I was just thinking,
Just
should we put something in there that in the event it is determined that the second alternate, any language that if it's determined that we need a second commissioner, that
we definitely can look at that. Look, read through the verbiage, because there's some verbiage in there where we did the we set the terms for the commissioners as it was suggested. So there are terms that are in there. And then also in the note that in the event that a term or if there is not a member present but a term has expired, that we shouldn't discount that a person from still potentially being on the board if there's not anybody that's willing to step up into that position, right? So that verbiage is in there as well. So read through it, because we tried as a team, we tried to make sure that it was as detailed and comprehensive to cover all boundaries, if you will.
And I do like the fee exemption. This is great. This just spells it out.
And that one is proposed as a specific separate subsection of the ordinance as that, in changing that up. So the one thing that was in that one in specific was looking at the not just the public schools, but public entities as a whole. So take that into consideration. And then they would still, the one extra clauses that I did add in there with the team is that if the exemption exceeds a certain amount of dollars, that it still comes to the board for full review to make sure that it meets the requirements and full transparency of that. So, and that also, as we discussed previously, that other fees, such as connections, so on and so forth, are not exempt. It's only the building fees associated with such.
Mayor, can you state again how this is going to work? I mean, what you have in mind, because I think we're going to be looking at public hearings pretty consistently to get all this done. Because these need updates. I know, P&Z and Eddie need to, we need to codify this stuff and get it implemented as soon as possible.
Well, I think that's one of that's why I say be ready for that. And I'll try to say that ahead of time, because with Eddie getting some extra help, in the next fiscal year, we're once we get that person trained, we're really going to try to knock out some of the ordinances and get them taken care of. Of course, taking the time that's necessary. So if we need more time, we take more time. There's no rush on it. And if you think about the wireless ordinance, it took us quite a bit of time to get that ordinance taken care of. So we can get it set and done.
Just public hearings in and give us time to review and just everything, but to do it so that we can kind of schedule ahead, that we probably are going to be here at 5 instead of.
And if we need the next meeting will definitely be at 5 o'clock. So.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to prepare us.
And there's the potential that we won't get through going through all of them. And that's okay. That's the thing is that, and if there's the need to schedule a second public hearing to get more input, not an issue by any means. We can do as many as you all deem are needed. All right.
Okay.
So timeline, public hearing for these 5 that'll be posted. If not Wednesday at the latest, Eddie and I'll probably get those posted tomorrow and get those out, and we'll get that emailed out to everybody. And then the public hearing on the 22nd to hear all of the cases. As I mentioned, I will have a resolution for at least the PZHAC, just so that we can get that going. I would like to try to have the public hearing officer ordinance resolution or ordinance adoption potential then as well. So please read through that and send comments. And then those are the 2. That way we start the new year off on the right foot.
So why don't you give us deadlines to send you our concerns and everything, so that way you can put it together and then you can read it all.
So you'll need to, what's that?
I'm not recommending any because I missed the last one I recommended.
Well, the thing is that we come in all at the same time.
Yeah,
And then we're gonna
exactly.
be back to back. We didn't get this until the last minute.
Yeah.
So if we
No, I
put
agree.
a deadline of you want this, you can type it up, and we won't get it Friday, we'll get it like a Wednesday or Thursday, so if we have more questions, we can ask them ahead instead of coming in here with,
So
be clueless.
I would say, because keep in mind, like as I mentioned in the last meeting, I am out of town next week. So I'm out until the 18th in the afternoon, but I'll still have my computer with me. So I'll get work with the team on making sure that the agenda is done. But you can always send the comments to Gloria, Eddie, the marshal, or myself. We'll review that. But I would say the morning of the 18th at the very, very latest. But of course, that's just for the meeting for the 22nd. And so I would request specifically for the public hearing officer and the PZHAC team, if you have specifics on those two, and probably the public school building piece, because that's pretty straightforward as well.
These are our goals.
Yeah. So if you could get that information and review the other ones and do that, and then I do encourage the public to send concerns as well and for review, because every part of that will be taken into account into the public hearing and noted as such. Sound good?
Yes.
All right. Any other discussion? Moving on to the next item, item 7D for discussion, land split prior to subdivision codification. Mr. Salazar. So this is the kind of a little, what we have, and it's not a very common thing per se in the town, but we do have, when we look at properties, some properties where the land was split specifically before we went into codification into this. So to give examples, and Mr. Salazar will go into more detail, but we have Basin Manor. This was gone in and codified in 1974, and the subdivision code went into effect since 78, correct? Or 80. It was the 80.
80, I think it's 80, but yeah, the codified in 1972, March 14th, but the subdivision itself was later on brought at a different time.
So remember, and what we're just wanting as a discussion and feedback in is, remember that this in this Mesilla Park area in specific, this area is all R1 zoning. So they're all legal non-conforming lots that are all in this, because they're not 1 acre lots by any means, but they're held to the standard of going through the R1 zoning process and not allowed to do certain things on their property if they don't meet those requirements, unless they go through the variance process in specific to do that in this area here. So that's one. This is one instance of one type of a subdivision that happened before codification. Another one that was, there's actually a couple that, and just in going through our zone, and when we look at the farm zone in specific, this is the county's GIS map. So when we look at some of these, so this right here, what you see coming right here is one of the drains, and we have a property here that is split in specific by the drain, and that drain was put in 1930. But it's still viewed as one specific property rather than as two separate properties. So there again, we have. How do you all want to look at it? I guess.
What's your goal? What are you trying to do with Mesilla Park? What is it? you want to do? What is it you want us to do? Where are you going with this?
To make it clear on it. So like this, you know, typical, like, let's just take this one, for example, or there's another one. It's over here off of Snow. And these are just a few that I've gone through where the drains literally split the property. So the typical process would be that, you know, I guess if somebody wanted to subdivide their property or look at this, they would go through a summary subdivision process, but this was already technically split back in the 1930s when the drains went in these areas. So how do you handle that in a subdivision, like a summary subdivision process? If they wanted to split it, or if they wanted to do, because it's technically the way that it is. I don't know if that's.
For cases like that, isn't that why we have variances?
But the variances, I mean,
Or,
you look at.
Oh. So, I mean, I can see Mesilla Park, us doing something with that. Because they are R1 and having something where, I mean, we're not holding them to what they, you know, the requirements that they can't do right now based on their neighborhood.
So I guess the question, like, let's say, because I see what you're saying on that, but the question in this is, and just to be straightforward in a discussion, is if they came in and went through the variance process to say my land is split in two, and I need to, and I want to divide it as two parcels. You have potentially, I mean, without knowing the size of, like on this one, without knowing the size of this lot, that one may meet the requirements of the zone, but this one definitely doesn't. So just being straightforward, would you potentially, as a discussion item, be comfortable with reviewing that as and approving that as a legal non-conforming lot? Because it's not going to be 5 acres. You see what I'm saying? So just as a discussion point on how do we, and these are only two in the farms. I mean, there may be others. Those are two that I'm aware of. One, well, actually, those two have been brought into, one was brought into question
A while back.
a while
Been a
back,
while.
yeah, and then one more recently. And then that's where that's where Eddie's been doing research on the whole Mesilla Park area as well, in his free time, because, you know, he's got so much free time.
Well, see, Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
there's been more and more requests for, you know, zoning permits in that area. And to me, my question is, you know, everybody's question should be, how is that R1 and under 1 acre? How did that happen, right? My first question, when I asked that, their first response is, well, it was annexed that way from the Scrooges. So we annexed it as smaller than 1 acre parcels. So we should recognize that these parcels that got annexed from another municipality as being under the minimum limit for construction. So does that mean that all those homes that are less than 1 acre cannot do any development on their property? Is that fair for residents in that area, right? Because they are already annexed as a non-conforming lot, and they're not able to put a shed or put a carport or anything like that because, again, our restrictions. And then you look at our R1 zone requirements, right, which that's what this falls under. Their setback is 30 feet, the front and rear setback. I mean, I don't think any of these homes have a 30-foot front or rear setback. So again, you know, many of them want to do flower beds. They want to do, again, it's various things. So I started looking in, when did these get approved? And going through the minutes, it's not easy. There's a lot of paperwork just to sort through. It's come to find out, the very first one, basically matter, we approved it, right? But we're treating them as you're not conforming. So how can you approve a subdivision with the size criteria not being met, but at the same time, well, you're not conforming. You can't do that because you're under 1 acre. But we approved you. We approved that development. So again, to me, that doesn't seem consistent, right? So that's one. There's other ones there that I've been looking at. The mayor mentioned the Del Rio, the drainage or the Alpha ABID, and again, one case led me to another, and kind of like a rabbit hole, takes you all over the place. But that drain, did have a map. I wanted to find it, but I wasn't able to. That the ABID actually bought through eminent domain some of these properties that caused the property to be split, or they were made non-conforming due to the drainage being put in. So how do we want to look at that? It's a question. How do we want to look at that? Do we want them to go through every property that is affected by this, or something similar to this out of their control? Do we want them to go through the variance process, and that's why we have it? Or do we want them to, like the mayor mentioned, if a development wants to be proposed or requested in a lower or below 5 acres, just go with 5 acres, but it's due to out of their control, will that still be considered an illegal or non-conforming lot? They would have to pay the $350 extra, to go through the process, where there's something that wasn't their doing, I guess is my question, right? And at the time, Mesilla did not focus on that. Didn't.
But it seems to me it's a matter of fairness for people, that are in these situations through no fault of their own.
Correct.
They didn't have say in these many of them. So it's an issue of fairness. So in other words, you're saying that in R1 they can't do any development, not even put up a shed. I mean, is that fair? Since this is something that they didn't control from the very beginning. So.
Well, they applied to be part of Mesilla. That's to be part of Mesilla and follow its rules. I mean, I think there's two sides of this. Is we annexed them and whatever we gave them. I mean, and I think fair is a very open term, I think, so we have to be careful with that. But they did apply, or they were asked to, or everybody agreed there's a process to become an annexation, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So those people that were in those homes at that time agreed to come in like we brought them in. I mean, I know that for a fact. I've been here for a long time when, so that's part of it is, if they changed owners, they still, for us to annex, they have had to have agreed to that. We can't just annex unwilling participants, for one thing.
Trustee, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's what we were getting at though, with here with Basin Manor.
Uh-huh.
Basin Manor was not annexed. Basin Manor was actually
Well, some are, and this is in particular.
This was a subdivision that was put in. So you can see here on this one where Salomon Perez was the secretary. I can't tell who the chairman was, but this is the Town of Mesilla Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay.
And the trustees, you have Fritz on there. Well, both Fritz. Roberto Fritz was the mayor. And
Okay, so but we brought them in. I mean, they were a subdivision already. I mean, I'm just.
no,
you're
this
the
was
one
a subdivision that was created.
after the annexation.
That the approval of this subdivisions. I'm sorry, we're talking about
She wants to
the
know,
annexation, or we're talking?
she wants to know if the subdivision was annexed before or after if the subdivision was done before or after we annexed.
After.
Basically, after. But and then we gave them the R1
Zoning,
zoning,
correct.
even though they didn't meet the R1
Correct.
zoning. And that is, so, okay, I just wanted to make sure that, because in annexation, whoever gets annexed has to agree to what they're coming into. It's not like it's a hostile takeover or something, so that they would be aware that that was going on. So, I mean, I think, and those are the zoning designations we had at that time, right? RF, so they fit, unless we built a different one, right? A zoning one, because we have historical residential, right? And we have R1, and then we have RA, RF. And so we didn't have anything for them to fit into.
That's one of my questions, correct?
That's your point.
Correct.
So they came in as R1s because that was the closest thing.
The smallest one we had,
Yeah.
correct.
That they could fit into. So your question at this point is,
It's my direction. Where do you want me to go? This is just something I'm bringing to light, so I don't spend so much time in one thing. What direction do you want me to go? How would you guys feel?
Well, you're asking for direction, so given the circumstance, and I'm still going to use the word fair to be fair to these residents, because we approve this as such, is that that we consider creating another category for these individuals. They don't fit into the existing ones. I mean, and again, to me, it's through no fault of their own. So could the town consider that creation of a another
Maybe call it R2. I don't know. Again,
1.5 thing or something, R2 or you know, whatever. R2D2.
something.
Let me ask you this. What was the ordinance back then when it got approved?
Well, I do know that the subdivision ordinance was not in place during this time due to previous other cases that I reviewed. I believe it was like in the 80s or close, something like it. It was, and so it wasn't really. This was again, it was approved, but the ordinance subdivision itself, I was not able to find evidence of it being in place.
The Guadalupe plan wasn't even in existence.
Right.
I'm just saying, by previous other cases, we found it in the 80s somewhere when it was.
Let me tell you a little bit about the farmland over there with the ditches, with the drainage. Okay, back then, they're gonna have to, and you and I discussed about this with my neighbor. She has to get her own measurements. Same thing with them, they're gonna have to measure it. Because if you go through to my house was measured by paletas. By a ruler, one by one. It wasn't measured on there. So back then, when those drainages were there, we're gonna have to talk to the, what's his name? Anyways, he has his cattle there and everything, and that corner that you're talking about, you need to go talk to him and ask him, where's his property at and what happened to that? Because if it's an EBIE ditch, you can't close it. You know, we can't close it. It is a public EBID land. They're the only ones that can close it. We can't.
Yeah, right away.
But we need to go talk to him to see he has the original guidelines of that property. The county, forget it. They missed. We have 100 some acres in another farm, and they were missing 15 acres of our land, and we had to get it surveyed again, and then we had to go back and file it. So same thing with basin. If we don't know what the ordinance was back then, and we came up with an ordinance, that is not their fault. Because we don't know what the ordinance was back then. We inherited them. They inherited it. They had their buildings built on there. We got to find out what their stakes are. I mean, if you surveyed it already, or usually when they buy a house, they have their stakes. And if we're talking about the tree, I know that person said that she went back and looked at her stakes. And yes, those trees were in Macia's property when she went back and looked at it. So again, we're gonna have to tell Basin Man, are they in compliance now presently? No. Were they compliance back then?
That's the
Does
question.
anybody know?
So that's what's important for his record keeping, right? To
So that's
get
what I'm
up.
saying. Were they
to make these
grandfathered
decisions.
in?
Yeah.
I know previous administrations don't believe in grandfathering, but were they grandfathered in at the ordinance that they had
At the
back in
time.
1974?
At the end of the day, that's what we're asking you is how do you want us to handle, as a part of a discussion, how would you like to see these properties handled? Do you want them to specifically go through a variance process saying that this is not my issue, this is a hardship that I inherited? How, and then if so, but should they have to pay the extra fees and go through the extra
No.
process that comes with variance? That's this
That's what we're
discussion
getting
right
at.
now.
Well, I
So
don't think
then
they
that
should.
allows Eddie to do that. If you want to see, I mean, this is now an area where and we had this discussion during our comprehensive planning going through. This is now an area where we have homes that are over 50 years old, but they are not the same as the homes that are within our historic core. So then do we create an HR2 district that is out in this area to protect those homes and the integrity within that area? of those neighborhoods. Do you see what I'm saying? That relies within that.
Well,
But there again, these are things that
Yeah.
take time.
Yeah.
This
I
is
mean,
part of
this
the
is-
discussion.
this is a huge because this isn't the only one. This isn't the only neighborhood. And I don't mean that we don't want to be fair to our residents. I just feel like the term, I mean, like of course we want to make, I mean, if we don't have the history, the legal history on it, we're going to have to make decisions based on that. And we don't want them to have to, I didn't mean that we want them to follow all the ordinances and jump through hoops and all that. I didn't mean that at all. I'm just saying that at the time that it was done, it probably followed the ordinance at that time, which is your point. But then we changed the ordinance after that, so made them non-conforming, right? In
Yes,
some way,
correct.
because we didn't describe them correctly when we built our zones. So that's where we're at with them. But, and I'm thinking that Messiah Park partly does, some homes in there are going to qualify for historic residential. So that may be something that we look at
Consider.
for them. Yeah, consider for them. And, I agree. I mean, I think there is a variance process, but we can't have a lot of variances. I mean, it's just a lot of work for you and they don't get things done as I'd like to. So, yeah, I do think we can consider.
Yeah, one of the things that they said over and over again in the municipal league when we go for a training is, if you have to continue to give variances over and over again, then you need to change your code, right? Something's going on.
And I would just
So I
want to
agree.
repeat what you've been saying.
Right.
That's why we need to look at seeing what we can do to create a new kind
Different zoning.
Questions that I've been wanting to ask. Those going back to the Greenbelt area and where the canals are that would cut properties in half or whatever, maybe non-conforming. Are they owned by one owner or two owners or multiple owners? Because I'm now concerned in that area about the Greenbelt.
Yeah, the two that I've looked into, the ones that we looked at, it's the same owner. But that's to say there isn't any other ones that are not. But the ones that I've looked into so far, it's the same owner owning both properties.
Do they have, but you're saying they're non-conforming because they don't meet the 5 acres?
Well, it depends. That's what we're asking. Because the drain split it, now it's non-conforming because the drain split their property in half or made 3 acres and the other one 2.
Still own the property?
I'm sorry?
I mean, I think if it's still deeded as one property, then it's one property.
So is it getting taxed on 2 properties or is it getting taxed on 1 property?
I think it's one property.
One property.
Yeah, then it should remain as it is. I think those are issues.
Because you never know, they build a drain ditch if they leased it out to EBID.
It's just this one in particular, the one they brought is they can't get to it without spending a lot of money to be able to get the water across that drain, right? And then the access to it now, you have to get a permit through EBID and you have to pay a fee to be able to cross their permit just to get on their own property because they split. I didn't split my property. You guys did. Again, I'm just bringing this up for direction, trying to become.
EBID property.
Yeah,
That's not us. Because if it says, if what we're gonna do is if we split it, the property owner's gonna have to pay 2 property taxes now.
Yeah, I'm just saying is what if they want to sell it? Is that law going to be a legal non-conforming law due to the circumstances to be able to build on it?
But that's not, I hate to say, it's gonna say really rude, and I'm gonna say it rude, because I don't know how many others say, that's not our problem. If they bought it as a whole and it got split, I hate to be rude about it, but that's not our problem. If they are paying property taxes on one whole building, one whole lot, and EBID goes right through it, that is, I'm gonna use, that's between the property owner and EBID. We have no say.
So it would be the process of going through a variance, right?
Right. Or they can go through, if they want to subdivide it, they would have to, go through variance, and they would have to go through all that, but that's not our problem.
Okay,
I'm
I
sorry.
mean,
Yeah, those properties, that land the lots you're looking at are much different situation
Subdivision.
than basic center.
I mean, the little subdivision right there off of Calle de 292 right there that we just approved, and they just finished that last. I think they have one more. I mean, what is
Which one?
why did that? You know, when we
Bacana?
were talking about cluster developments, and I mean, why and Lucia Farms? I mean, why can't Basin Farms? I mean, they're not R1s, Lucia Farms, are they?
No, that was going to be my next question, right?
Yeah.
So now you have Bolt Street, and I believe that's Mesilla Farms. That's HR, but that's nowhere near HR. How did that become an HR subdivision? You know, I tell you why. It's probably because they wanted smaller lots, than 1 acre, like R1 is, right? Same thing on Calle del Sur. You know, you got properties on Calle del Sur on the south side that nowhere in the area it's HR. How did that become HR? You know why? Because they wanted smaller parcels in that area.
So instead of developing a new zone at that time, because Mesilla Farms is not that old, they just adapted to HR.
Yeah. See, with the port records, this is possible through a cluster subdivision, right? And a cluster subdivision, I haven't heard of any of these being approved through a cluster subdivision, which would have been beneficial to save the green zone. That's the whole purpose of saving the green zone is the cluster subdivision, which you have a large parcel, say for instance 100 acres, right? On an RF zone, has 20 houses you can build on it. With the cluster subdivision, you allow them to build up to, like, I'm gonna pick a number, like 60 or 80, right? You get more homes sold. Your infrastructure will be a lot less because you don't have to build streets to meet all these 5-acre parts to connect them. You bunch them all up, give them a tolerance of 8,000 square feet, and the remainder of that property has a covenant through Mesilla that you're no longer able to subdivide that property for any more development. That's what has saved the green. But all this slow, just not happening.
Yeah, I mean, that was the purpose of that whole comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
Cluster subdivisions is to save the green zone, but to give landowners
Opportunity to make use of the property.
to sell their property, and for people to come into Mesilla and buy smaller lots and smaller homes so that they could afford it, because R1 and RF and all those, they're very expensive, right? And regular families can't move in to a $500,000 house or whatever, which we have a bunch in this town. So,
Yeah. Lastly, just one last thing to bring is we talked a lot about taxes, right? Agricultural land taxes for 1 acre is like $20 a year, very, very minimal. So whenever you build a home, it's no longer an agricultural, it's a residential home under the tax bracket. So the county was taking it upon themselves to be able to, not protect, but help the farmers, you know. And they were subdividing on their parcel map, which is this one, right? Their parcel map, so they wouldn't have to pay taxes on 20 acres residential tax bracket, but they will pay 1 acre at the residential tax bracket, and now the other 19 will be in agriculture, so your taxes won't be so high, right? To try to help the farmers out. So again, this is a parcel map. This is not illegal boundaries. This is what the county is using to charge taxes. This is not 100% leagues boundaries, right? This you have to read the deed for that. So just because the county again did it for tax purposes, now in our eyes they're non-conforming lots because now you just split it for tax purposes, and that's where a lot of these ones that I've come across, some of them I've come across, I'll fall into that category becoming non-conforming because the owner doesn't know anymore. It's already been sold and sold. They don't know.
I mean, so my concern is now, I mean, talking about Basin and we have, like Mesilla Farms is not HR. I mean, shouldn't be HR. But if we do something, we should do it comprehensively to describe as correctly as we can what the properties really are. And what that's going to entail is for us to really do kind of a deep dive into like the Mesilla Park neighborhood, who could have a lot of historic houses, more so than Mesilla Farms, because Mesilla Farms started getting built in 95, I think, 92. So anyway, I'm just saying that, those aren't really historic
Yeah.
or residential, when we really do have historic residential in Mesilla Park.
Yeah, I guess after the comprehensive plan, I'm looking at, what the community wanted, what we decided, and, how do we protect the greenbelt? How do we, satisfy the residents, give them their right to use of their land? And I'm coming across these questions, and that's why I'm here.
Here's the thing too, though, is, I believe Mrs. Stella, if you guys haven't read it, I suggest you do read it. Look into that federal section 106 that she said, because Mesilla Park is protected and it is historical. And as a federal, that section 106, I know about it because she's texted me out all many times about it, and I had to read it, and on there, the mayor couldn't justify it to it. But Mesilla Park is considered a historical through the federal. So yeah, look into that section 106 on it. But also you got to remember too, though, is do me the favor, look into it. Yeah, it is. So, and then also too, though, is we got to remember we are a complete colonial too. So that's another part to add to your plate. But look into it and see what exactly they're talking about Mesilla Park being considered historical as well too.
No, again, just want to clarify, Mesilla Park is right behind the city, right? Who?
On University,
Yes,
right in front of Zeta Middle School.
got it. That's Mesilla. So what's this one here? We're both in
That's Mesilla Farms.
Farms, Mesilla Farms, Mesilla Park.
Yeah.
Got it. Sorry, getting confused.
So, I mean, Mesilla Park is much, much older than Mesilla.
Yeah.
Mesilla Farms, yes.
Mesilla Farm. But, and not, the problem is that it's not gonna be every single house, right, or every single street. The National Register does things, and actually, but, we can do that.
Just
But yeah, this is a huge, I mean, I think every time we bring these up, and we're looking at it comprehensively, right, through the whole town, is that we do need to consider the super old, the old, and the new and what we've done. And if we need another designation, we should build one, but build one on the whole town, based on the whole town.
Yeah,
And we
and
might have to change some zone.
yeah, see, I was bringing up the measures is like, right now our process is we go through the process of being reviewed through the P&Z, PZAC, and we bring it to you from recommendations, but only for certain titles. Certain titles is the PZAC is responsible or the authority to make recommendations on. Some that are not in there, we need to do, and I was talking to me, I would like to have work sessions with the governing board, and you give me direction and I can go back to the PZAC and get it done, right? So it just seems sometimes that we're going through that process and we don't know exactly what direction you want us to take. And I think that's kind of gets discouraging, I guess, sometimes, so if you want to call it that. But yeah, if I can get the direction here, I can take it with me, then we know exactly what we need to do. And that's I think it's the goal to get it done much faster, and obviously the support from all of us.
Well, we appreciate you just bringing this forward, because I think it does need to be looked at again.
And I apologize to my staff. I know they're probably going to shut up, baby, let's go home.
Yeah.
But
No, they're busy on their phones, they're fine.
Well, so I think that because it's all good discussion all the way around. So so when we look at, and this is just something that I noticed right now, just as we look at other discussion, is look at this property and how it's defined by the county, right? So this property line right here specifically goes down the house, right? And now it's presently still the same. It's the same landowner.
how did that happen, right? I mean, that's my question.
But exactly, how does that happen? So
Surveyor was under the
But that's not something
But this is what I get you the example that Eddie just gave us, that this house this property is being taxed at a certain amount, and then.
well, this is farm. This is farm, yeah.
This is part, it's the same owner, and he's getting a break on his property because it's not considered.
It's possible.
Building.
Yeah.
Until you look at it some more, right? It's possible. And also like the zoning map here up there, we have some zoning boundaries that go right across properties. So one property actually has two zones. There's quite a few like that on there. Yeah.
I mean, that's out by me.
Going through the GIS that I'm trying to put together, I'm like,
That's how I do.
That's why I said a lot of these, you might want to.
So look at
So again,
like,
one-
like these guys.
huh?
I think honestly, the
where
owner,
we did these ones. Look
the
at
owner's
these
gonna
properties.
have to get the original deed, the
Yeah.
original.
Look at all of
Some
these
don't have
ones
it.
over here off of Snow.
Oh, yeah.
To keep in mind that the county did this for us as a courtesy, the boundary lines and they created the map. So they didn't detail it, like the mayor was mentioning, like Mesilla Park has all these streets that go through all this. I mean, that's for a different discussion, but some of these lines, even there's some properties that it goes right through. They just penciled it, gave it to us, and we've been running off of it since we got it.
But that's why I said, I think,
It needs to be addressed.
I think you gotta go back to the original deed. Like I said, my property was measured by paletas.
Paleta, varas and all that kind of stuff.
The
Right on.
paletas with the ruler, you know what I mean? So it's not.
It's just sometimes
I
it,
guarantee you a lot of these places, before we were a government body, that's
I agree.
how.
And I don't know how to read them. I just call it. I don't know how the hell to read those things. Like what?
Like
I bet you
in our own zoning map in areas like this, I mean, this is the property that's across the street from me that has a little bit of farm RF, the 5 acre in that, but it's
RA.
RA 3 acre. Same down over here, this property that's on the corner by the ditch, that little sliver RF, but this is all one property. That's not a property line that comes this way.
It's our zoning line.
Right. So I don't know, just things to take into consideration, part of a discussion on that.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I say no.
Our brains are boiling.
Good stuff. one way or the other.
Good stuff.
All right, next item on the agenda, 7 E for discussion update on the municipal court. Ms. Ramona.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees. Quick update on the court. Seems like everything has been closed. From when I was the court administrator, all those were, if they were open, they were dismissed by magistrate court. Those are done with. I've transferred all the GWI cases because those cannot be destroyed. They have to be kept indefinitely. So magistrate court has custody of them since there's no longer court here. There is a few files that I do have because when I came last, I ran a report to see if there was any more cases still pending because I wanted to close them all out. That's when I came across I believe, Mayor, you attached the list that I have provided you.
The list isn't attached because it has the personal information.
Okay. So there was a list of 42 people that potentially had bonds still, quote unquote, on hold, meaning they hadn't been applied to whatever the outcome had came to of the case. That they were fined whatever amount of dollars, applied and then refunded whatever was left over, if any. I was able to bring that list, which I have provided the mayor last time we met. 42 pages, I brought it down to 6. These are still bonds that a couple of people have there. It looked like there's a total of, according to the list, $12,359 that the court might owe these people. Since it's still like a up in the air thing about the previous court administrator of what was happening, there has been issues with, I guess the bond going into the finance side. I've been asked before. Okay, I'll go back. When people would get arrested, the judge would impose a bond to get out. That bond would be on hold, like a layaway, I guess I want to explain it. Of course, the whole process. If you were found guilty, you were given the option of, well, do you want to use that bond that you paid to pay whatever fines you were given, or do you want it back? Or if they were found not guilty, of course, the bond was given back to them. It was kind of like a guarantee that they were going to go through the whole process of being here for these cases that I came across way before I was here. We have one from 1996. We do have some from when I know for sure it's the very last. It says that there's a bond of $500 and paid out, but in all actuality, I have the check that it wasn't 500, it was $740. I know at times there was, I don't know if it was the way in code was set up that when I take a bond, it would throw off numbers in the finance department. Because I would be asked to, instead of holding on to the bond, to apply it, and then whatever happened with the case, then we would either refund it, apply it, or whatever. That really didn't work with the numbers back there. I would pay some, but then payments would be reversed, meaning they would throw it back to the court side, like if there was either a penalty owed or a bond that is still on hold, but in all actuality, it had already been paid out. So that's why there's kind of issues of what is due and what is not due. And I can't figure out for the life of me, given the fact that it was before my time, of if people are really owed this money, I would say, yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know who's to say.
So at the end of the day, when we look at it, and so we sat down with myself, Gloria, Ashley, our Rob from our attorney office, and Ramona, of course. And
And
we
Ashley,
went through and kind of discussed like what happens, you know. So and we looked up some of them. So when we looked up a few of the deals, just like Ramona is saying, is that in the system, historically, when Gloria pulled the checks and everything, it shows the checks as being deposited and being cashed. So the ones that we went through just right there showed that. But there's several of them, right? So there might be some that are still outstanding in that sense in going through there. But the contact information for those people is from 95, right? So or between now and then, some are more recent, but still contact information is there, or where we don't have it to actually get that back. So what was basically set on in here, and that's what is kind of being brought to you next, is that we hold on to said funds for a 5-year retention. And then if people come in during that time and they do that, we still look into the case to see where it's at, because we've retained those records, right? And the listing. And then we issue that.
Not the ones in the listing, because the majority of them, there was no file no more. I mean, from 96, there wasn't any. I believe the only file that I could have found still that, physical file was a handful of them.
But at the end of the day, like I say, you provided the listing that had the bond amount. So,
Right.
I mean, worst case scenario, it's I come in and I say, I never received my $500 back, a bond back. I mean, we don't necessarily have the record retention on that to show that, other than what you had from the system. So but we have the money in the account still. So we're still going to issue that refund. So it's just one of those things where
Yeah, what's the dollar amount that is owed
On my
back?
list, it's $12,359.
Yeah, she was-
And I will say that, we do have more money than that in that account right now in the bank. So
How much do we have in that account? So we have 44,000 in bonds?
in the court bond account, it's not in bonds, those are refunds. It's literally 12,000 that is potentially outstanding.
So
we have
may I ask,
44,000, we have 12,000 we paid that we people. Where's the other 30-some thousand? What is
That's a great question. DFA with about that, as well as our investors on that, and they don't have the answers on what happens with that remaining money.
No, but
Are you asking where did it come from?
yeah, where did it come from?
Bond payments.
Okay, so we have 33,000, let's just round it to 30,000 of, we don't know where it goes to,
We take in bond money for fees that are associated.
but we owe 12,000. Let's round it up. We owe 12,000 to people, correct? Let's just get a number. We have 44,000, let's just round it to 40,000, in that account. Where is the other, who does that other 30,000 go to? Does it go back to people we have no clue? Does the town keep it? Do we pay it back to the bonds? We're a dollar amount, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, I know she will. Every dollar has its name to what department it goes to. So that other 30,000 that's extra, that we're just rounding numbers out, where is it assigned to?
It stays in that account. That's what we're getting at, and I'm waiting to hear back from both DFA and the state auditor on what specifically happens with that money, which they have so high of turnover there that nobody knows left from right.
I think maybe we need to put,
Well, I think
Veronica,
is that Ramona is telling us that she was able to reconcile, find where we owed, actual cases where we owed 12. The other money is in the account, but because, I mean, she went, and she's worked very hard, as you can tell, when she went from 42 pages to 6 pages and all
It's
that.
because the 42-page report was anybody in the history of the municipal court that had at one point posted a bond.
Yeah, so she's been working very hard and got down to 6 pages, and that's $12,000. So yeah, I mean, it's possible that that money can't be totally accounted for at this point in time because it's as old as 1996. She was able to go back and identify a person we may owe it to, but obviously there's persons, and we know that there was, various things that happened before Ramona got there in the court. So Mayor is just gonna find out what happens with the remainder and how it can be credited and to who. And then we're gonna keep $12,000 for 5 years per this document to see if those people on that list come in and collect their bonds.
I think we're gonna put out an ad though and let them know that. Huh?
We have a list though of the names.
Correct.
But we don't have all the data either. I mean, we can't,
We have the data in the system, but we don't have the file.
but we don't have the file. But the data says this is what happened at this time, and
In some, I have found some that there was a check issued for $1,000 to an individual back in 2011 with a case that doesn't even exist in the system.
but that,
So I don't know how this check was even issued if there's no case.
Oh, great. That just was another can of
Yeah.
worms.
well, that was
We're shooting checks out with no
2000.
court.
That's a closed case as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
because
and it's 2011.
that's a done
Right.
deal.
Yeah, so it's probably.
Right, so
I don't think we.
that's good to say, like,
Why do you think we're in the situation where we are now? Why do you think that was part of that suggestion? That was made?
Poor management. That's why we're in the situation we're in.
yeah, and the reason why there's such a big difference between what is owed and what is actually in the account, I don't know. I don't know if there's others that maybe didn't get a refund that,
Example of we owe them 500, but then it says 740. That's a $240 difference.
You know,
because it was,
We're holding your check, we're going to get interest on it for you.
no, that individual got a refund of $740, but then somehow it was reversed and sent back to the court, like if he has another $500 bond waiting for him to be reimbursed. But in all actuality, the whole amount that was owed to him has already been paid.
How many of those are out there?
When I've been here, only 2. Because the other ones, I don't know if there's a check or not, because I don't have data from back
So
then.
we don't know how many reverse payments are out there. Wow, that's scary.
No. And I have found in that big list, 40-some pages, there is some that the bond had been refunded or applied or whatever, but the system is still says pending, like it hasn't been processed. I don't know.
I know there has been difficulty with matching the accounting systems and, you know, before you came, there were some other issues and stuff. So, I mean, so Mayor, you're proposing, is everybody?
No,
Yeah.
I'm scared about it.
Well, so, I mean, Ramona's giving updates, so.
Right, no, I did request Ramona to give the updates, but there's,
I think, yeah,
yeah, I mean,
keeping the 12,000 like you proposed and then waiting to hear what DFA, what we're supposed to do.
Well, the auditor, so it's DFA, the auditor, and then, AOC,
Yeah,
who's doing the audit?
the state auditor?
The auditors?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
who I contacted.
Right,
All of this is all the state side, it's not our local side.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's, they're the ones that have the guidance on
Yeah.
it, you know,
Right.
so.
Okay, I'm good. I mean, I think we have a resolution. I mean, I think you've done all the work that you can, I mean,
Thank
we
you.
feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You're welcome. There was one thing that I did see the memo that Mr. Cabello. The one thing that I do have an issue with is signing it, because I don't want to be latched on to issues that happened before me for it to come back, you know. And I mean, I understand like the mayor and the finance department signing off on it and also the attorney, but I don't want no say in this because I was not part of the problem, I guess I want to say. I mean, I could be part of the solution to try to get it resolved, but I don't want to be a part of the problem that was originally there before I was here.
no, we can always.
Well, we had that discussion.
Mhm.
before we went through this.
Right,
But you just don't want to sign it.
right. I just wanted to make it clear
Remove
that,
your name off of it.
right, please.
Any other discussion as it pertains to item 70?
You're welcome. Good night.
Thank you for all your hard work on
You're
this.
welcome.
Thank you, Ramona.
You're welcome.
Next item on the agenda, 7F for approval, court records, listings, and remaining procedures.
Second,
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by Trustee Garcia. We'll open it up for discussion. And as it was mentioned, and requested to remove
Ramona.
Ramona from there. If we can have a motion for condition for that.
I'd like to make a motion with conditions to remove Ramona Molina from the Public Safety Clerk Records Custodian off the contract, please.
Second.
Motion on the floor for condition by Trustee Garcia, seconded by Trustee Nevadas. Discussion on that removal. Seeing as there is no discussion on the condition, Gloria, if you can roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek.
Yes.
Trustee Cadena.
Yes.
Trustee Garcia.
Yes.
Trustee Nevada.
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yes.
Thank you very much for approval of that condition. Back to the original motion on the floor. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, second by Trustee Garcia. Is there any further discussion on this item?
No.
This is for approval with condition, as it has been noted. Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Trustee Garcia.
Yes.
Trustee Cadena.
Yes.
Trustee Nevada.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek.
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yes.
Thank you very much for approval of item 7F as it has been motioned with condition. Next item on the agenda is approval of our USD wildlife agreement.
So moved.
Second.
A motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by Trustee Garcia. I will open it up for discussion. Any? This is our annual yearly agreement. Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by Trustee Garcia. If there's no further discussion, Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Trustee Nevada?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek?
Yes.
Mayor.
Thank you very much for approval of our USD Wildlife Agreement. Next item on the agenda, item 7H, approval of our New Mexico Co-op Marketing Agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by Trustee Cadena. I will open it up for discussion on this. So this is our annual marketing deal that we do with the state, and it has everything lined out in there. We do have that match portion, which is ours. It's on the last page, that 13,000. But it is a total value of $40,000 in match funds for our investment. Is there any discussion? Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, second by Trustee Cadena. If there's no further discussion, Gloria, if you can roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Nevada?
Yes.
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 Mayor, the roll call is 4 yes.
Thank you very much for approval of our New Mexico Co-op Marketing Agreement. Next item on the agenda, 7I, approval of our New Mexico Historic Sites Lease Agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by Trustee Garcia. And I'll open it up for discussion. This is the annual lease agreement that we have with this New Mexico Historic Sites. One of the requests that they had to help streamline process was to renew it for a 3-year period versus a 1-year period. So if you would take that into consideration. Is there any discussion? Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by Trustee Garcia. If there is no further discussion, Gloria, if we can roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek?
Yes.
Trustee Nevada?
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yes.
Thank you very much for approval of our New Mexico Historic Sites Lease Agreement. Next item on the agenda, 7J, for approval resolution 2026-27 budget adjustment for the fourth quarter.
So moved. Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by Trustee Cadena. I will open it up for discussion. I will note that earlier it was brought up about
Yeah, I
the
saw that.
2025-26, but that's for this fiscal year. So that does read correctly. Any other discussion on this budget adjustment? Seeing as there is none. Sorry, was it? We'll have one more to finish up this fiscal year.
We need to do them so that
If I may, these are refunds, so we have to do that because it's increasing our budget authority. We can't go around this. So those may come up again, depending on if we didn't budget for it and we got a refund, we have to do a budget. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing by any means.
No,
Just
it's
clearing
not.
it out and leveling, especially when we get that money in and those reimbursements in.
Yeah.
Seems like we do whatever you need, right?
And that's the potential because we are getting more funding throughout the years, which is a good thing.
And our budget is a living document. It's gonna be changing.
Most definitely. Any other discussion? Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by Trustee Cadena. And if there is no further discussion, Gloria, if you can roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Trustee Nevada?
Yes.
Johnson Burek?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yes.
Thank you very much for approval of resolution 2026-27. Next item on the agenda is public input, where the public is invited to address the board on any other actions. If you'll please state your name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Anton Magallanes. I'm with Moyes Surveying. I just wanted to kind of reiterate a couple things on tonight. I'll do it within a quick 2 minutes too. The assessor map is nothing but a tax tool. So it does not represent legal boundary. There's a screen that says we should not assume this is legal boundary. It's kind of safe to usually at least get an idea that legal boundaries match tax assessment. But what the tax office used to do, like Eddie mentioned, is that if I had 10 acres and I wanted to go there and get 2 different tax bills, I would walk to the assessor, say, give me 2 account numbers, and they would give me 2 account numbers. Doesn't necessarily constitute 2 pieces of land. And so the alternate also happens, where we have 2 legal pieces of land, but 1 count number, which is kind of the situation that we saw with some of those larger tracts. We see this a lot in the city because back in the day, the city used to make those 25-foot lots in old subdivisions that were 25 by 150. People would buy 4 of them. You didn't get 4 tax bills. You got 1, but you legally owned 4 lots. So the question becomes, how do we administratively handle this? Because this was one, I'm specifically talking about those, what we're referring to as the greenbelt lots. Those were 1 pieces of property when we looked at the original legal description prior to 1932. And then in 1932, the drain came in and the property owner legally gave it to the government with a quitclaim deed. So now they legally do have 2 pieces of property. There's no doubt about that. Any surveyor would tell you those are 2 legally separated properties. But the account is still being paid by 1 person, 1 tax account. So what my customer had done was say, I want to sell that piece to actually the neighbor because Clay Schultz going to farm the whole thing. It makes a lot of sense. But so what I do is I survey that little remnant piece that was there. I write her a legal description. She can write a deed from herself to Clay Schultz. They go to the clerk office, they record it, and they'll accept it. It then makes its way to the assessor's office. And then the assessor gets it. And then they say, wait a minute, this was 1 account and you're splitting up into 2. We don't let people do tax splits anymore. They stopped doing that because it creates way too much confusion. This isn't a tax split. So what my friend Andre, one of the GIS mappers, will do is when she gets that, she's going to say, it looks like you're trying to split this account into 2. And I would say, yeah, I preemptively have these conversations with her saying, hey, it's coming, be on the lookout. This is why it's 2. But as a courtesy, she'll call the town of Mesilla and say, do you guys agree that this should be 2 pieces? Because she doesn't want to be the one holding liability to create 2 accounts when in fact it's legally 1 piece. So there is a trigger that the town of Mesilla will get when she records a deed, clerk accepts it, makes its way to the assessors for review. Let's say, for instance, the town didn't agree to it, right? Then Andre will issue a letter saying your deed was not accepted. It was rejected. That deed still lives in the clerk's office because it's recorded and it always will be. Doesn't get retracted or redacted. But Andre preemptively will reach out to the city, the town, and Beni's Hunt Park to make sure that the deed that was recorded isn't constituting a legal split. So I would only say that what I encourage is that we let that trigger be what the administrative process should be. So when that trigger comes in, I hope the town can think of an administrative process so that we don't have to wait for a variance because we're not really subdividing anything. There is no variance to anything because we're not varying from subdivision regulation because it's not a subdivision. It's already been legally divided. That's that one. For the other one, a zone designation makes sense. You might want to consider like a conditional zone. So HR or H1 conditional, so that they're meeting the standards of whatever we want in H1. It's just under the condition that they're less than 1 acre and they were established. Just so you don't have to, have a second zone. Thank you very much. Yeah, I know that with the public input, there's no discussion back and forth, but like I said, I think that there just really has to be an administrative process for these processes because there's a lot of moving parts with the town, with the clerk's office, and what people believe they can do with their land. And we're trying to be ambassadors to help them. So I would just encourage us to continue to think about an administrative process to be able to do so we don't have to drag it out and subdivide land because that piece, there's nothing to subdivide it from because we won't do a subdivision with the federal government, of course, because it's already split because of that. And I don't think if I had to guess, there's probably 10 of those properties in the town of Mesilla. So it's not a problem that we're going to continue to have. It's just something to think about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Magallanes. Other public comment?
So I'm Beverly Estrada. I think everybody knows me by now. So I'm just coming today in regards to due process, transparency, and communication. So I did never request for documents. Didn't receive the documents. Received notification that the request had been received. They'd be working on it. Time went by. I then went ahead and had to file the IPRA complaint. Because as I stated, with everything that's going on at the university project, time is of essence to us. Everything needs to be moved quickly. There's things we need to review. It's not to our favor. So I did contact Trustee Garcia because it seems like Veronica's the only one that tends to listen. And I let her know. She said, do what you need to do. So that is why I did it. So upon receipt of the documents I requested, they came in a Google document with password protection. I'm aware we want to keep privacy, etc. No password was provided. So I had to issue for every single document, request permission. I did not get a response back from a town clerk. I did, thank you, Eddie. At 10:22 p.m., Mr. Salazar was the one who granted me the permission to start viewing the documents. Once again, I'm going to circle back to, as I begin, I always talk about the communication, the transparency, and the accountability. We are a town. It is professional, and that's what we should have to maintain. And in all honesty, I think this is why DOT doesn't take us serious. They view us as a joke. They view us as a pushover because there is no due process that is ever followed. I'm not here to hang anybody. I'm just saying communication and transparency is something that's important. It should be held to the highest standard. And if this was done to me, how many others are not sitting there? So just something to look at, because the head has to control the body. If that's not controlled, it's not going to function and it will fall apart. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mrs. Estrada.
Trina Witter, and I just wanted to relay a comment from Mary Helen Raichi, who couldn't be here tonight because she was dealing with a whole large group of out-of-state visitors. But anyway, she wanted to ask if the tent that's on the plaza, I think it's on the south end, it's been up since Cinco de Mayo or something like that. But she says a lot of visitors are using it, and she wanted to ask if it could be kept up for a while because it's so hot. She said people are picnicking under there on the plazas, they're hanging out. So I said I would relay that message tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Witter.
Morgan Schweitzer with Vintage Wines. Again, I just wanted to reiterate that I do believe that a noise ordinance needs to be put together. But when you're going through the packet that you have received, I would ask that you keep in mind the businesses and specifically their locations. As I read it, this does not impact Palacios, El Patio. It doesn't impact the town. There are very few people that it impacts. 60 to 65 decibels, according to the measurements, is actually less than the sound of a vacuum cleaner in your house. 70 decibels is everyday traffic. 85 is heavy traffic or a hairdryer. We have noise louder than a hairdryer. So right away, I can tell you that that's going to be a problem. That's during the day is 65. At night is 60. That means if you and I are having a conversation and our neighbor calls, we would potentially be in a violation. So I'm asking that you consider that. It's our livelihood, it's our business, and it's our customers' enjoyment as well as a community's enjoyment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schweitzer. Other public comment? As there is none, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, item 9, Board of Trustee Committee reports and comments. Trustee Nevadas.
I met with the community economic development staff just to catch up. So we went over quite a few things. There's a Taylor site board meeting coming up, and I plan to attend that. I also attended because I've always been interested in the topic, but I attended the June 5th meeting of the Southwest Area Workforce Development Boards just to see what they were up to. Like I said, I worked in that field for many years, so I have an interest in that. But I did attend that. The other one is the mention about the tent today. And I've suggested that in the past that we keep it up and just decorate it because it's very useful. It comes in very useful during the summer months, and we get a lot of visitors in the town and in the plaza area in particular, and they use that. It's a stopping point either to stop and rest or to have refreshments. But I think consideration should be given to that. The other one is just an idea for the fiestas that we have, the Cinco de Mayo and the 16 de Septiembre, is perhaps consideration should be given to initiating a poster contest among the schools we have within Mesilla to get the children kind of interested and getting them involved in this, and maybe having it as a competition maybe, and then having all the posters displayed at the community center during a period of time so people can, individuals can visit that. I mean, I think they would do very creative and wonderful works of art relating to those posters, but I think it would involve another segment of the community, and we want it to be a family affair. This would be a fun way to do it. So that's an idea I'd like to propose that we do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Garcia.
Wednesday, we have a meeting with MPO. That's all but trustee comments, accountability. Poor Mrs. Estrada showed up to my house with that request. Did not receive it. I did tell her to do what she needed to do, and then she gets it and it's blocked. You might be CEO, Mayor, but I'll tell you again. The residents and the board get punished for it. Accountability. This is not, I don't want to be Cruces and Doña on the Sun News that we did a violation, which we did, we violated. You know, so I don't want to hit it. Accountability. Someone has to hold accountability for their actions, like, period. We shouldn't have to go through this. I don't know how many of you guys walk university trails, but there's already holes on it. There's already holes on university trails. And it's brand new. The weeds are awful. So we go back to codes. We're here telling our residents, you can't have weeds, but you go down university, there's weeds. You know? Sandbags. My poor viejitos. Out there, Miss Estrada and I digging trenches for the viejitos so the water don't go into their yard. Accountability. You know, it's just full accountability. You know, it breaks my heart. You know, accountability. That's all I can keep saying. Accountability. You know, we should not be running into these matters. We shouldn't. You know, you want more help, we get you guys more help. You want this, Mayor, we give you this, we give you that. But what we're getting in return is not what we're giving you. So transparency and accountability is huge. You know, I've asked how many times, and I'll say it again, we have not yet put out there the 16 de Septiembre parade. I asked you to put the 4th of July. You like numbers. Did you see how many likes you got on our 4th of July ad on Facebook? Over 200. Why? Because you gave them enough time to know what's going to happen this year. I even took a picture and told you, hey, the town website doesn't even have the 4th of July on it. The 6th and the parade. People need time. And it's an election year, so I can guarantee you every election person is going to be on that. People need time to go the flow. I don't want to go to Cruces to come back and the parade's done. You want to make memories, if you want to break records, and you and I have said this before, start advertising now. You got over 200 likes on Facebook because you already advertised 4th of July and what's going to happen. Over 200. And I'm watching it. And I was like, there's your numbers. There's my proven point and your proven point when you give enough people enough time to come in. It's there. I don't know how to get clear. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Trustee Garcia. Trustee Cadena.
Yes, I am part of the Mercado Committee to approve the new people that want to sell at the Mercado, and that's going well. We have a email team going. I'm the trustee on that committee, and that's been going very well. And we're adding merchants almost every week, and they go through a very good screening and requirement process to be able to be part of the Mercado. I was very happy with the Historic Preservation Week that Liana did. That Liana was able to do. She had a lot of good presenters. It was very enlightening. It makes you, there was, it makes you interested in architecture, that like the old Mesilla School, the community school, that's a Trost building, which is this humongous, it's just a very historical part of the Southwest and the Triangle. So there was a lot of good stuff in that. And hopefully every year it'll build up to something bigger. The transit board did not have a meeting this month, so I didn't attend that. And I will be attending the board meeting for the Taylor the Taylor Historic Site on Wednesday also. And I just want to thank everybody on the staff as how hard they've been working every single week. And also all these, I want to encourage people to put your comments on these displays here, because this is something that the community needs to be involved with, and is really going to give us direction as the board and the mayor and the staff to go forward with all these projects. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Cadena. Mayor Pro Tem.
Just FPO this Wednesday at 1 p.m. at the Board of County Commission Chambers. That's all I have.
That's it. You got more than that, I know. All right. So we did have, and that's what you see around this past Saturday, we did have a community meeting to do this. We will leave these posters up until Friday. We did post that a week in advance on that. Low attendance on that. We had 3 total residents that came and participated. Well, 4 total residents that came and participated with that. And ironically, it's a gamble to what Trustee Garcia was mentioning as far as posting and getting the involvement, because as I mentioned in the previous meeting as well, there was one post that I had put about a meeting specifically the day of, hours before, and I had over a dozen people at that meeting. So it's a matter of hot topics at the end of the day and what gets people engaged in that sense. So jokingly, not jokingly, someone had mentioned to say that, make it a hot topic as an agenda item, but when everybody gets here, be like, nope, just kidding. We just want your feedback on this. Not a good way of doing it, but at least you get people engaged at that point, right? But as I mentioned, there's these priorities that we're looking at. Feedback is definitely much needed. Right on these boards, I'll leave them up until Friday. We've been leaving this room open specifically for that all day today and all the way through the week to write notes on. There's stickies. You can put a sticky note on there. You can write directly on there, put it in bright colors. It's just feedback, and we can use as much of that as possible. Write all over the blueprints and say, yes, this is a good idea. No, this is not a good idea. They're all schematics on what this can look like for that. I did attend a CDBG workshop with a member of the finance team, and that's that's a community development block grant that for potential funding for the town that is run through the COG specifically. So I've had some follow-up meetings with Tiffany, who's in charge of that. It has a very short turnaround time in that. So you will notice that there is a public hearing that is posted specifically for the CDBG block grant that is being held on June 16th. I will note, though, however, with that that public hearing, because it is federal funding and through the grant funding, it is recommended that electeds do not attend that specific community meeting. Let the staff specifically run that meeting. We will have a staff member that will be present to help facilitate that with the member of COG. If you do want to go and participate, it's not a participation thing. It would be requested that you sit at the back of the room and just listen and not do that. And that's so that there is no influence from the elected officials happening within that. I did have a New Mexico Municipal League Board of Directors meeting as well, covering all of the necessary things and processes that are happening through the state as far as it pertains to the board and updates on other meetings that are coming up. The Workforce Development Board meeting that Trustee Nevadas mentioned was a part of that one virtually on that side. It's always good information that comes out on that and postings on that. We do have a lodgers tax meeting tomorrow. MPO executive meeting tomorrow as well. MPO meeting on Wednesday, as it's been mentioned. I do have a policy committee meeting with the Municipal League on the 17th. The Governor's Conference for Tourism is on the third week of the month on the 24th and 25th. And then we do have a ribbon cutting on Friday, the 26th at 8:30 a.m. at Parque de Cura with the tourism department. So if you are free, please put that in your calendar, and I'll send you a reminder on that. And you'll see the posting going up for that here soon. Other important dates upcoming to put down if you are able to attend. There's a Molly 2 training on June 16th and 17th. If you haven't seen that, if you do plan on attending, please let me know or let Gloria know. One of the stipulations for Molly 2 is that you have to have taken Molly 1 to participate in that. The New Mexico Municipal League Annual Conference is being held here in Las Cruces on the 25th through the 28th of August in particular. So if you have the ability to attend that conference, please have that in there. I will note on that side, I've been trying to get the city to incorporate Mesilla into some way or another, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So other than we know that we can direct people that we throughout the conference to definitely come eat, dine, and enjoy in the best little gym next to Las Cruces. We do have on the next meeting, there will be a discussion and approval for ICIP as well. So it'll be a little bit longer meeting on that side. Just a fair warning on that, because we do need to get that approval of the ICIP so that the finance team can get all of those projects uploaded into the system. And by July 1st is that deadline. So we did do a couple of or a work session and a couple of other discussions, but there's still a lot of opportunity for our ICIP. So if you have ideas, or residents, if you have ideas, please email them to us. That way we can get those added in. And trustees, if you're hearing those as we're moving along, please get those added in and email them to myself or to members of the team, and we'll get that on the list and have that to where we can just prioritize that for us there. There is the Public Arts Committee, the PAC. I'll plan on posting and calling a meeting for them by the end of the month, and hopefully we'll have that first meeting of that PAC because we do have a couple of applications or intent for applications, but we still need to define that specific process through the PAC and how that those applications move through the PAC. but it'll be a good trial and error for how the public art kind of goes through there. So we should be seeing those moving here through the board within the next month or so. We will be calling a meeting for the blacksmith shop ad hoc as well by the end of the month. That the members for that were determined by the Planning and Zoning Commission. There was a request for 2 commissioners and an additional resident by the commission. So to keep it an odd number, if we wanted to, there can still be 2 trustees that are assigned to that, as we had noted, which I think is not personally a bad idea. More input is better at the end of the day. So if you're okay with that, we can have that discussion otherwise outside of this if you want.
That's fine.
But that we'll try to get that the planning and some good things going, or the chair will get that going for that ad hoc meeting. We did receive, I mean, with that rain that we received just recently, there's a lot of different areas of concern around the town that we've had that, from Calle del Norte with flooding areas, as it's been noted. We did have flooding that did occur on the university project that has already been forwarded to DOT. I mean, we've seen in all these areas where even with that amount of water, because it was a considerable amount of water, handled it okay, but it left a huge mess behind everywhere, and definitely gave for the university residents definitely gave a lot of concern up and down, and we could see that. DOT has told me for those residents that do live along the trail on University, in specific on the south side, that they because I've been forwarded, as residents are sending me the information, I forward it directly to them and make them aware of it, and they are looking at ways to mitigate the damage on that. They are also, because I'm just like as it's been mentioned with Ms. Estrada, for the section 106 and information on that. I'm working on with DOT on getting that formal sign off and getting that documentation. I have yet to receive that, but they did tell me that the executor or whoever, from what they know, is SHPO. So whoever would have been with the State Historic Preservation Office. But until we physically see that, I take it with a grain of salt, right? So we would look for that paperwork, just as we've discussed, and have that physicality of what that is. So we're still on the fight on that. There is no set time for that project as well. There is no set time yet for a final walkthrough on that. So that has not been determined yet. There is significant damage that did happen along that road that has been noted in other areas, and our team, thank you, Lorenzo, has been also taking care of some of the major issues that have been happening, especially at the corner of University and Avenida de Mesilla, because where we had a little pothole before that was 6 inches, pretty much blew out to be quite a significant thing, right? As we see a person land in that, and that would not be good, So, but we're working on all the stuff and doing that. So, we'll get these ordinances and suggestions posted. Please email feedback on that, and that way we can look at that and review that and get those suggestions at least noted and put in on the side. That way it can be a consideration, and that's one thing that I would ask of everybody on that. And as I mentioned, I want to just drive it home. Please participate in what we have here going on. Send your friends and family to come and do that. And then we also are taking the comments online. So at contact@mesianm.gov, you can send any type of information on projects or issues or anything like that. It comes straight to myself as well, and then I can get that out to members of the team that need to take care of that accordingly. So just putting that out there. And if that's all I have, and unless there's objection, The time is now 8:48, and I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.